All right, welcome to our Season 6 restricted format post-draft team recap. I am joined by my two good friends.
Hello.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, yeah, hi.
All right, maybe I did that wrong. All right, we have Connix.
Hello.
There we go. And we have Colin.
What's up, gamers? I'm ready to break this draft down.
Yeah, well, we're going to start by breaking down your team because you had the first seed of this draft, which I think you had either the first or second of the last season, too. I think it was both of you, right?
Yeah, what's up?
First in season 4.
Season 4.
And I had second.
Yeah, yes, the VGC seasons. That's when y'all need to be having.
Yeah, oh, yes.
But, anyway, Colin, would you like us to try to, unfold what you have going on here, or do you want to lead the conversation?
I mean, I think Connor can do a pretty good job if you guys want to. However,
I think you should do it.
Yeah, I definitely could. I wanted Miraidon. Obviously, at first pick, I'm going to take Miraidon.
Sure.
I think that's not a hot take. I don't think it's actually the best Pokemon in regular VGC, but for a draft format, I think it is far and away the best one you can pick. Best restricted Pokemon you can pick. My first 3 picks were as planned. I will say that. I think that kind of shows with the rest of my team.
And that was Miraidon, Iron Jugulus, and Iron Treads, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My three Paradox Future Mons.
Well, you got the biggest counter to your Miraidon pretty early, so.
And it's great because it's also a great partner for it. I can discharge next to it if I want to, and it also handles the fairy types that I don't really want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jugglers for ground types too to help.
Yes, yeah. And so those were okay. The 2 biggest weaknesses: Miraidon, Fairy, ground. Cool. I can these help with both of those. Also, a little bit of backstory. I took Iron Jugulus Miraidon to LA Regionals and did horribly because I messed up my team sheet. Not because of that. I also didn't play very well, but that didn't help. And I need to redeem Iron Jugulus because I think he's really good. Otherwise, the rest of my team, I initially did not have Mousehold to pair with Annihilate, but then it got dropped, and I got to pick it up, and I thought that was pretty good. Pretty good
you already had Annihilate when you picked that up today. Oh no.
But I think the rest of my team is really solid support. So I think that I am kind of leaning into a total of 4 Mons on my 10 Pokemon team that are going to be doing the bulk of my damage.
Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a lot of things, but yeah, especially anybody who drafted.
But I think I did a.
Go ahead.
I think the rest of my team is much better. Is a good supporting cast around it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Torcat. I was really happy to pick that one up late in the trade.
That was just the picks you picked up today. I mean, you got your fake out user and you got your follow me user out of that, or your redirection or whatever you want to call it. So obviously.
And kept Intimidate.
Yep, that's true. So I mean, you got some good utility out of your pickups today, and like you just mentioned, you have the F and Annihilate, so beat up, go ham.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was pretty good.
Let's see. We can go. You got your wide guard used. You got a pair of those. You got the Frost Moth. I don't know what she does other than wide guard, but
not much.
Tailwind.
Oh yeah.
Tailwind.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I have better Tailwind users, but she can.
Yeah. It's an option. You got a little Imprisoned Trick Room for the Trick Room teams.
Okay, it's also picking up Follow Me also allows Frostmoth to actually click Quiver Dance if I really am down bad.
I mean, if your opponent that week is very special heavy, she might could get away with that, right? Because she's got ice skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so that's possible. I haven't seen what's out there, but in restricted format, there's a lot of teams that probably are going to be leaning special, so that could work.
Mm-hmm.
You have 8 taunt users, so
I was going to say,
I think it was 7 when we first noticed this, and you added Torcat, which so I don't know, whatever.
And Mousehold.
Yeah, well, I think it was 7 the other day. So one of the other ones you swapped out probably had.
I lost Inteleon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm good on taunt.
Fair enough. Let's see.
Yeah, I do think my team has some pretty major weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, ground and fairy types are really hard to deal with. But I think I have hopefully my low tiers can actually help with the ground. That's what I was really like going for. Actually, and both of them also hit ground types 4 super effective, which makes them not only resist but also can threaten them back. So
You are
I think,
not
And
worried.
ice is particularly good in restricted because there's so many dragons just running around. So that's nice.
Mm-hmm. You are not worried about grass moves at all. I'm going over your chart here. It's just like no weaknesses
not a
at all.
single
Like
weakness.
6 paths. Let's see.
I also I have a notably bad electric weak or not notably. I have a pretty bad electric weakness, except for the fact that or not electric flying weakness. I mean, but if you want to bring your flying types into the Miraidon team, okay,
You have to go through Miraidon.
Here's the thing though, like if you like cover up the bottom half of that list, because the way this is ordered is it's your 2 S tiers, your 2 A tiers, your 2 B. Like it goes in the order of the alphabet here.
Yeah.
So like those are your like low tier picks. So like take that with a grain of salt, right? You really have like one Pokemon weak to flying, like realistically speaking.
Yeah, Jugulus.
Or what? No.
Sorry, Annihilate. Sorry, I'm still thinking oh, it's the flying type. Cool, I have a flying type right there. Flying. That's what I said. Yeah, my bad.
So like, if I'm doing what I just said though, and I'm like looking like covering up the bottom half, then yeah, it's gonna be like ice, fairy especially, and then like maybe not fighting because you have the immunity, but the yeah, those are your.
And also
the fighting
considering
weakness
that
is not real.
Chestnut and Frostmoth probably never come at the same time. Like it's only ever one, never both. So it's like that helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Like that also helps the fire too, because like both of them, and then also treads are weak to fire. So you think, okay, maybe fire moves are good, but Chestnut and Frostmoth rarely come and never together.
I think Chestnut could come pretty often. I've been like pretty pleased looking at it, to be honest. But I guess not to spoil. Yeah, it is still a D tier, but I think it's really good for a D tier. It's just ugly.
Yeah, you're better man than me. I can't draft ugly Pokemon. It's just it's not in me. All right.
And one of my favorite Pokemon is Pheasantipity. I can't be.
I mean, it still looks like a bird, I guess. So it's like it could be worse. But
I don't have much else to say.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you got your bases covered. You have like the strongest Pokemon probably in the format, like you said. You got Mouse Ape, and you got your utility. So I mean, I think you got the good workings here. So. All right.
It seems also like really fast. Actually, I didn't even notice that. But wow.
Yeah, and you got 2 guys that can use booster as well.
2 Quark drive that can go speed.
Yep. And there's always Scarf, Final Gambit, Annihilate. So.
Shh! Don't remind them.
Oh, okay. My bad. Never mind. Ignore me. All right. Connex, why don't you start the conversation on the Oak City Obstagoons?
You could actually do this one since I'm gonna probably be going next.
Oh,
since
okay,
I'm up
do
next.
yourself? Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, it's probably good that I covered this in a little bit because I helped him.
Oh yeah, you helped. Yeah.
Yeah, I did help him post draft. So like, obviously, this is our Bokos. So this is our big Rapid Strike Urshifu fan #1. So like going in, it's like, all right, is he committing with the rain and grabbing the Kyogre, or is he going to grab the Urshifu? Obviously, he grabbed the Urshifu here, to your delight. Which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yes.
Then he has the Lando T, so starting out very physical, but he gets his Intimidator, and we all know Lando is a menace in VGC. Just has been eclipsed by things like Incineroar, but still a great mon. Let's see. I actually traded him this Smeargle for me. It was like my last pickup. Obviously, Smeargle's a great mon. It could do almost anything. I just didn't care for it on my team, and at the time I traded it to him, he had 2 fire types, and he already had an Intimidator with the Lando, so it was like, all right, you don't need the Arcanine. But, yeah, Smeargle, I mean, fake out, follow me, whatever you need to do. I'm not going to...
Notably, 2 things that he's missing otherwise, so it's really nice that Smeargle already likes to run those 2 things.
So he has Spectrier, so he picked up a nice solid special attacker. He had... did he also have Mousehold at one point? I'm trying to remember what he had here.
No, it was Tomba Household.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he
I can actually pull up the Discord and I can look at what has been swapped.
Yeah, that's true. You can pull up the transactions page.
Yeah, I'll have that up.
Yeah, but I mean, he needed a special attacker, crazy speed. It combos well with his team.
It was Murkrow.
Okay, yeah, because he didn't... What was the thing about Murkrow? Like, it had like okay.
I think he wanted he was in his mind he was going for like a pseudo rain team, and I think he's just more balanced now.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need the rain dance.
He-
The tail end would have been nice, but it seems already decently quick.
No, his team's like super fast. And he's got priority.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Murkrow just didn't seem needed. And I'm kind of surprised nobody else picked up the Murkrow, but it's there. He did have Dialga as his legendary, but I think was like, he left his list with me to like, pick, and he like, did this round 1, round 2, round 3. I think the Dialga was kind of like, it was like a tertiary or maybe even like a quad pick for like the restricted. But I got to talking to him about his team and his comp and like some of the mons he already had, and I was like, Solgaleo is going to pair better with these. So he swapped out and got the Solgaleo. He has Swamp. So he has a Greninja Sceptile. He did have Blaziken as well, so he could do the other. But he's like, I don't really care about the burning land or Rainbow or whatever the other two are.
Super necessary.
Yeah, the Swamp is the only good one.
The cool thing about Greninja Sceptile though is like they're 122 and 120 speed, so like they have 2-point difference. So if you really need like the the attack type for a certain team, like you can underspeed Greninja, and it probably is not going to matter in most matchups. Just to get like the type that you want. He picked up the Gardevoir. He didn't have a fairy, and there wasn't very many fairies left. There was no Sylveon on the board at that time. So I think that was in that regard, it's a good pickup. Gardevoir is a fun Pokemon in general. Like Trace is fun. I think what is her utility?
Telepathy next to Landorus too is cool.
That's very cool. Yeah,
I've used that myself.
He did have that. That was one thing he had with Dialga, but he's got it with Gardevoir now. So that works out great. She's got Screen, Sea-Wave, Taunt. More importantly, though, Trick Room and Prison as an option. And speaking of Trick Room, also he gets that on his restricted in Solgaleo, which has a lot. It's like a very deep move pool. I wasn't even like aware of it until I started looking at it. It's like Flare Blitz, Wild Charge. Gosh, what were some of the other options?
High horsepower, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it just can hit a lot.
Maybe close combat too. I don't know.
I'd have to pull it up, but I'm not gonna do that right here. But either way, deep move pool, Trick Room option. It's good. It's good under. If you want to run it fast, or if you want to run it slow, he's got the Icy Wind options. He's got the Electro Wind options on both like fast Pokemon, so he's got some speed control there. So he's got a lot of different ways to do speed control between those things. Swamp, and then of course
it's knockoff. Solgaleo.
Hit him with the paws. And then of course we wrap things up with the most important Pokemon on its team. We have the Bayleaf, as we know, was an all-star last season.
So true.
But I mean, he's got all of the utility for the most part. I mean, that's part of having Smeargles. You get every single utility under the sun.
I think that's big.
Pretty well
the redirection and the fake out.
That's my overall arcing spiel. I'll let y'all dive in now.
Yeah, the something big that you mentioned was the Trick Room and Prison on Gardevoir, which I think is really good here in particular because, like we said, his team is so fast. Not that there's a lot of Trick Room in the league, but there's one Trick Room team in the league, which is Glist. Let me actually see. Do they play? They do play.
There's two, and now Ty's.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Ty's got a lot better with the trades. So I think that's gonna probably be his best way of dealing with Trick Room because he doesn't. I mean, like Taunt is there, but Mental Herb is always a thing. With no fake out and aside from Smeargle, very little fake out. You can't it's hard to stall a lot, right? So I think that's going to be very important because of how fast his team actually is.
Yeah, 130, 122, 120. It's very similar to how yours was looking, Colin, where there's a lot of speed at the top end. He actually doesn't play Ty. I'm looking at his schedule now. He does play Glist, so that will be important.
Yeah, I think that I think this team will kind of come down to how creative can he get with Smeargle. To be honest, I think Smeargle is so important to so much of his support that he will have to pick like the right set every week, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
So I think the other support mons are like kind of Gardevoir, kind of Sceptile. Spectre can kind of be, but a lot of it is kind of like it's a very hyper offense team, and with one like really, really diverse, really incredible on. But when you only have one, it's like I don't know. It's like how good can you play with it? I think that's what it's gonna come down to.
Yeah. Well, and you said it.
But I actually do kind of. Oh yeah, you go.
No, I was gonna say he said it during the draft. Someone asked about Smeargle, and your immediate response was, "How creative are you?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I do
that still
actually.
stands.
I do kind of like that though, because it's like a lot of the time, you have a team like this would suck with any other support there aside from Smeargle, because like going all in on offense, if you need fake out or if you need follow me or whatever, you can only bring one of your support mons when everything else is offense, and if it's not the right support mon that you've drafted, then you're just kind of out of luck. But Smeargle, it can be whatever support you need. If you need fake out, if you need follow me, probably wouldn't want to do screens, but you have screens on some of your other guys like Raikou. I'm seeing actually looks pretty cool with screens. Bayleaf, but slow screens kind of suck.
I know,
but I think I really do like the Smeargle as like the one support mon that can, help out a lot of these fast offensive mons.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I had it at the very end of my draft, and I was like, he could use this so much more than me, and I just don't have like immediate like plans to use it. Like take this, man. This is gonna do wonders for you.
Yeah, I think if he gets Smeargle right, if he like figures it out, this is a very scary team. And if we have another draft league that we were in, and somebody ran the same like Smeargle set, like it was like six of the like he had the same 6 moves that he brought every week, and it wasn't good. So, Bokos, if you're listening, don't do that, and you will be better.
There are over 1,000. There are over 1,000 moves. You can cook. You can cook.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Connix. Now's your time.
All right.
We've seen this before.
Well, I was. Wait a second. Connix, this is the 3rd time you've shown this team to the class. I was very happy to see that Bokos did not draft Kyogre. Going in, I wanted to take. I knew I would have a safe pick of Ice Rider because I knew Colin wasn't taking it, and I knew Bokos hates Trick Room, so I knew it was a safe pick for me. But and I just expected him to take Kyogre, which would have been my second or my first pick, knowing that Miraidon would be gone. And then took Urshifu first. So I'm like, and I'm glad that he. Honestly, this is a message to everyone out there. You should play your cards close to your chest. If Bokos hadn't been like advertising in general that he was planning on taking Urshifu first, I wouldn't have even bothered theory crafting a team for Kyogre. I probably could have gotten something pretty good.
You didn't have to theory craft a team. Again, this is the 3rd time.
Yeah. No, I was about to say, I could have probably figured out, I could have free-formed most of this team based on past experience, but I did create a draft plan. And the thing that sold me was that even if I didn't get Archelodon, I didn't think Tornadus was going like at all in the first 2 rounds. So Tornadus is still a great partner for Kyogre as an S tier. But anyway, I got Kyogre first. Archelodon miraculously made it back to me. So I get the GOAT of my Season 4 draft again. Then after that, I knew nobody would be taking Basket Legion for a while, so I dropped down, and I got Illumise next, which I think Sigtrick might have something to say about. Because
Thief!
He wanted that pretty badly. I told Colin before, I'm like, I don't know if I should take it this early, but looking at the other pranksters, there's nothing that gets the combination of moves Illumise does.
You should have taken it that early, because it was gone that round.
Yeah.
Should have been gone the round before, but I screwed up.
Like, I thought about Murkrow, but the thing is, Murkrow just doesn't get fake tears, which is, like, so instrumental for Water Spout guy.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a big thing about fake tears, is that I'd never like it when you're using single target moves, because, you have to double into the same Pokemon, and if they protect, then you just waste a whole turn. But with spread moves, it's like, it gets so much better. And to have a great spread mover like Kyogre, I just felt I wouldn't maybe have even taken Murkrow. I may still have if Illumise had gone, but and that's just something that I learned from Season 4. Playing Weather Wars without a prankster, if they have a prankster, it's miserable. They're almost always going to have their weather up, because you just switch in, and they can even just like cover your switch in by just going for the sunny day again. Even if you don't switch in, they don't lose anything except for a turn with their prankster, which probably isn't going to be doing much damage otherwise. Anyway, that's enough about Illumise. Next up, I knew that I wanted Serena, and this is something that Colin and I both kind of wanted. But he said it was way better on my team, and I think I agree, because it lets me scarf Kyogre without worrying about fake out or priority to chip it. Grass is just really nice on Rain because it punishes Terra Water, which is like the most common Terra type into Rain. Really good mon for the team. Then I think I went down to my low tiers. I got Gliscor and Electrode Hisui. Electrode was a backup pick for Toxicroak, which Sigtrick got. I would have loved Toxicroak here, but
you already had it last time.
I have had it before. I also skipped over
It wasn't
Overkill.
last time. I had it last time.
Yeah, I had it in a past
on my
league
Sun team.
before that.
Oh,
Yes, you did.
fair.
Overquill is a rain favorite of mine. I love Swift Swimmers. Well, I guess it's the Swift Swimmer that doesn't just add another water type. It's got variety, and it'll also punish Terra Grass, like I mentioned with the Serena, punishing Terra Water. Terra Grass is another common Terra type. Overquill helps to punish that. Also can provide Intimidate into some slower teams where I don't actually need the Swift Swim, or maybe Trick Room teams. Got Gliscor again. He was GOAT on the last rain team I had, just because they tend to be weak to electric, and I like a nice ground type on a rain team. Then we get to Basket Legion. I went back and got him. He was a GOAT last season 4. Now Zapdos is I wish that it could have been Thundurus Therian, because that spread move is crazy good in rain where it can't miss, and also the Volt Absorb is huge. But the big problem with that guy is that he's actually cheap, right? He's too cheap compared to Zapdos, and I didn't have any A tiers that I really liked remaining, so I'm like, okay, I'll get Zapdos, which I kind of like, instead of the Thundurus that I love, but then I can just get something else in B tier. If I wanted like Ludicolo or a Barraskewda or whatever. I ended up on Weavile to provide beat up for Archaludon, as well as my only fake out support, and just some speed too. So not 100% sold on it. I think in a perfect world, I would take Mousehold over Zapdos and then Thundurus over Weavile. But because Colin did me a solid and let me get this Serena, I'm like, no, you deserve the Mousehold. It's way better on your team than it is on mine. So, yeah, that's my breakdown of the team. If you guys want to have anything to say, I've talked about this team before in season 4. Very similar.
No, I mean, it's effective.
We know what this team does.
I was very disappointed when Archaludon got all the way back to you in round 2. I'm just like I had to bite my tongue because I didn't want to be that guy. So it's like, don't let him get this, like the entire way all the way down, the way up. But it got back up to you. I was just like, man, like come on, I don't want to do this again. Like you lost only like one game. That's like not even a match, like a game that season.
Yeah, one game. And it was a quarterfinals.
Yeah. I was just like, and like me like team prepping against this team that previous season was just like, I know I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna try to make a best effort. It's just not a good feeling. But yeah, I mean, you got your pieces. You got your rain. You got your Archaludon with his electro shot in the rain. You have your Basket Legion is like a truck. Zapdos is a good electric type. You have your Intimidator, like you said, gives you a swim who's not water. I think is that your no? You got 2 swimmers. You got one.
Yeah, Basket Legion and Overcrawl.
Yep. You got your fake out option. You got your Prankster Tailwind with fake tears. You have your pseudo not pseudo. What's the word? Either way, your budget for Garef. But it's grass type, which, like you said, probably fits a little bit better here. Actually, you don't have a psychic type, do you?
It's not, like for exactly Kyogre, it's not even a budget for Giraffe. It's just better than for Giraffe.
I would like to have something that has Trick Room, but it's okay. One thing that I've been punished for in the past is that just generally a lot of mons that I like don't get taunt. So there's one time I was playing hard Trick Room and I had exactly one taunter, which was Mr. Mime, and I had to bring Mr. Mime to a match and it worked because he didn't even bother running Mental Herb on anything because he's like, it feels so bad when your only taunter is Mr. Mime. But luckily this time around, a lot of the monsters that I drafted just happen to have taunt. It's never something that I think about, and I usually get punished for it. But this time is the one time I didn't get punished for not thinking about taunt.
I think in this generation, like taunt's pretty widespread because I don't think about it ever. You saw Colin. I don't think Colin was thinking about having 8 taunters. So.
No.
No, it's actually the opposite for me. A lot of the mons that I do like are mons that get taunt. It's
Colin
just
likes the taunters. Yeah, I usually dislike the taunters.
Fair enough.
One thing that I like about Overquill a lot, being a physical attacker, I like that it's a dark type because last season because I played all the pranksters last season, which was unfortunate. I mean, I won because I went undefeated and won the whole thing for the most part. But I played like Murkrow, I played Klefki, I played Volbeat and Illumise. No, I didn't play Volbeat. I would have played Volbeat if the bracket had shifted differently. But having Overquill, it's really nice because I don't have to worry about getting Thunderwave. I don't have to worry about getting Will-O-Wisp. I don't have to worry about any of that. I played Sableye too. That's the other one. So it's really nice. A Quash doesn't affect it. It's really nice to have like a Swift Swimmer that can't be slowed down or damage mitigated.
That's true. I will say that was another problem I had, and it's why I don't really like Talonflame. Is that one, it doesn't do well in terrain, but two, like it being your quote unquote prankstermon, you don't get access to change the weather with priority. So
Mhm.
But anyways, I had two mons I didn't mention here. You know, the Electrode, which I think is a great budget pick. You get the 150 base speed with the Electro Web, which is great.
Electro is huge, yeah.
What's now? You said you like obviously you like having an extra electric immunity, but like what does Gliscor do outside of that?
I mean, it's just on the last team I had, it was a tailwind option when I didn't have much speed control. This time I'm a lot better in that department with, you know, the option of Icy Wind on Weavile or like we said, the Electro Web on Electrode. I like it into. It's got a lot of good matchups. I feel. I think it's like crazy good into Sneasler because you run a poison orb on it. And then now you can't be affected by Dire Claw. You resist both stabs. Hyper Cutter is also really fun because you can't be intimidated if you run that. You just run some other item. I don't know. I feel like it's also just got really good stats for a D tier. A lot of them are very underwhelming, and this guy, he feels like he probably should be a C tier, but the C tiers are pretty good and a lot more consistent, probably.
Hey, I don't know about feeling like C tier.
Yeah.
It's
Again, he's got a good typing. It's just like the question is what does he do, right? So I guess we'll find out.
I had some good success with him last time.
I think
he's a legacy pick.
I think you had good success last time. I don't know if you had good success with him. I don't remember Gliscor as a standout, but
No, don't you remember? No, don't you remember? It dodged 4 hits in a row from Excadrill with Sandveil.
I forgot about
Bright Powder.
Yes, we don't think we have any. Actually, no, wait. Someone did pick up Hippowdon, so I guess that technically exists. But...
it dodged like 4 moves in a row.
I will say the one thing, like, I think this is like a top 2 team for sure, maybe probably at least top 3. Contention for number 1, obviously. But I think that the one weakness it does have that I have noted is that, like, you have 5 mons in the 95 to 85 speed range. And that's you've stacked a lot right in the middle, and that's not necessarily bad. You can work with it, but without a Trick Room setter, it's a little harder to work with that.
I was about to say, I think the big weakness is, I mean, you could see that it's very offense heavy, and it just sort of its defenses kind of come from, you know, I have a lot of type immunities, right? But I don't have Trick Room, I don't have Wide Guard, I don't have Follow Me. Like, I think that's going to be
so many immunities. Wow,
yeah, more than I know, right? Like a lot. I might have every immunity actually. I don't actually. No.
Something I am noticing here, though, is if you look at the type chart, go all the way right, like it seems like the fairy button is pretty free to click into your team.
Yeah, because Arch doesn't actually resist.
Yeah, so I mean,
but I do have 2 guys super effective on fairy, so you'd want to use like non-stab fairy or something.
Yeah. Well,
that's not that good.
I think Zacian the Zacian team. I don't know what
the
team looks like.
Oh
Zacian
no,
I don't play that though.
Oh my god.
I dodged. Agency dodge. Although, I mean, Zapdos does kind of.
The thing I was gonna say, lack of Wide Guard. However, you don't play Kyogre. You don't play Calyrex Ice Rider. Do you play?
No, don't play Shadow Rider either.
Shadow Rider. Oh my god.
Curious.
I dodged. Agency dodge.
Oh man. The no, I mean overall, I from the mummers I've heard from people right now, I think it's your team and one other team I've heard are like the main concerns. So you're definitely.
I have a top 3 that I think are really really good.
They should give Archellid on Wide Guard.
I think maybe at the end of this we can pull up the little tier list maker and we can kind of give our overall opinions.
I'd like that, yeah.
We'll settle out. I thought about doing that as we go, but it felt kind of weird since we started with both y'all's teams. So I think we'll do that as a conclusion. But
yeah, I think I like that idea.
Okay. Let's see. Colin, you're gonna start out with Whitsett Wobbuffets.
All right. So I don't like this team very much. Just starting off the bat, I think that this is definitely one of like we talked about 3 in a row that I like with Bokos having the asterisk, and I don't like this team's low tiers. I think that this team is not actually electric weak, so why do you need Raichu? It also doesn't really. Ribombee is pretty good. I think it's a pretty good C tier. They didn't really need. It doesn't help defensively at all because even though it is a fairy type that's a good defensive type, you attach Bug onto it and it's not good anymore. A Leafeon doesn't do anything, and I think Dreadnought's bad. However, the higher end stuff, I can see the vision. I think that Landorus is not that crazy, but it is good, and I think I obviously see pairing with Pelipper. It's a nice like rain option that is not relying on Swift Swim, aka Dreadnought. So I think I could see that, and I think Volcarona was a great pickup for this team. But I think the combination like Urshifu, Single Strike, and Zamazenta is like one of the only pairings that Urshifu Single Strike doesn't actually work that well with. It's like it's such a good mon, and then you happen to be that you're restricted is like the one mon it doesn't do super well with. It's like, okay, well, I don't love that, but it's fine. It's a fine team that I think I'm probably missing some stuff, but I think Klefki again, and Klefki, you want screens to go with Samazenta, but you're sharing a fire weakness there. So there's a lot of just like could be good synergies that just and ground like the sharing the steel weaknesses, and like could be good synergies that just like are snake bitten a little bit.
Yeah, the what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought there. I mean, you have a point. There's a double fighting in the top two. The Clefkly was the Clefable before today.
I think Clefable was better.
The funny thing is, I was actually almost pulling the trigger on picking that up for my B tier that I need to swap out. And I was like gonna do that this morning. And I bounced the idea off of him, and he's like, "Oh, please don't! I really want it." And I'm just like, "All right, I'll be a nice guy, and you can have it." But no, I mean he has a lot of good pieces here. You can't. Yeah, I mean like you said, the Lando, the Urshifu, Zamazenta, Volcarona, Pelipper, like those are all good mons.
I like them in
vacuum
individual. I think that this team is less than the sum of its parts.
Okay,
is unfortunately how I feel.
I do think you undersold Raichu a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be like only our electric, redirector. It does not have follow me. I want to point out. I think that's some leftover stuff from from the net deck.
That's not
that's some net deck stuff. But I mean, you still get your fake out user. Nuzzle's great. It can do like the Focus Sash. What is it? Endeavor strat. Encore's always a fun time. So I mean, I think Raichu's a good mon. I mean, granted, I guess it helps redirect electricity from Pelipper, but I don't think that's a big part of this team. Like you said, he's got Lando, who doesn't care about electricity. Like nobody else is weak against electricity,
right?
Pelipper, or a Dreadnought, but
Dreadnought. Yeah. But I think that the reason you want Raichu over other mons that can do similar things because of Rod. I just think there's like something better he could be doing with a different C tier.
Now, but I will say he does play you, so it does buy him a turn, maybe two with Focus Sash. But so we'll
say that for sure.
Okay. I do
definitely will protect him from discharge.
One thing that's a little bit awkward is that it feels like he's got like 4 mons that want the Focus Sash, because Raichu wants the Focus Sash, right? Bombi wants it.
Urshifu wants single Focus Sash.
Pelipper, and Urshifu Single Strike all kind of want it. And Landorus is like not that bulky either. I think the screens actually put in like overtime work here. I feel like he might have to bring Klefki like most weeks.
Maybe that's why he wanted it that bad.
I think so, probably, yeah.
But I mean,
one thing that I will say about Zamazenta is that I feel like Zamazenta is probably like the most flexible restricted that we have. Like you could just put it on like a lot of teams and it'll put in work. But I feel like I don't know, because usually when you see it, you pair it with like Rillaboom was a big one. I feel like you want something here that can heal it. Comfey is obviously taken and Rillaboom is obviously taken. But I feel like some sort of cleric would be kind of nice, because if you're running the shield, you obviously can't have leftovers, and you're allowed to not run it, but then you give up your steel. Actually, no. I wonder if he might give up the shield sometimes, because then it doesn't overlap with Klefki. That's interesting to think about.
Maybe, yeah.
I forgot we did that little ruling for some of the mons, including Zamazenta. So
it would still overlap with Single Strike, but it doesn't. Like you'd kind of have to prep for both almost. I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
I mean, it's a good mon. It brings you. Not only is it
powerful, it's very
good.
It
brings utility, right? I mean, if you get Wide Guard for free, just by picking up your restricted, and you're countering like at least 5 other restricteds, or not countering.
And it's crazy fast. Like it's 128 is really good on a support mon. The fact that you can invest like, I don't know how much it is, but like very few EVs and just be faster than like base hundreds with almost no investment is really nice. And then just put the rest in bulk, and you also get offense out of investing into your bulk because of body press. And also something to note is that if it takes that shield off, then it gets 10 points faster, and 138 is just ridiculous for a support mon. You can even do like Snarl on that guy who's that fast and just hit before all of your opponent's offense.
Yep. No, it's crazy speed too.
I didn't think about taking off the crown, but yeah.
I think because I think the Zacian team, just thinking forward a little bit, I feel like Zacian almost never takes off the crown because it gets slower, and also Pure Fairy is way worse than Fairy Steel.
Yep.
I think this team actually could take off the crown a couple times. I think the crown usually still might be better, but depending on the matchups, I like this team actually a lot in that sort of flexibility regard.
One support mon he had that was where the Rabambi is now. He had a Ranguru, which was an interesting. I guess that was his. I think that has in Prism Trick Room that now Klefki's covering.
Yes, it does.
But the funny thing about that he mentioned to me, and I'll say it now that he no longer has it, is was it Instruct? Is that what it's called? Where he was thinking body iron defense body press sets with Zamazenta, where you just instruct and get a +4 in defense.
Oh man, yeah.
But the
Instruct is also one of those moves that's really good with spread moves like Fake Tears. And you do have Landorus to instruct Landorus to use Sand Steer Storm again would be really good.
Oh yeah, that's true. But what does Rabambi do in doubles?
It's just
Tailwind.
It's fast. Yeah, it does have fast Tailwind.
Which he got pseudo Tailwind with the Thunderwave Prankster Klefki, I guess. 90% of the time. But
and you got to be careful with Raichu on the field too.
It gets screens, but it's not bulky enough to ever have Light Clay, so it gets much worse.
Oh, Rabambi. Well, he's already he's got Klefki, so he's doing screens.
And he's got Klefki, yeah. So I don't think Rabambi's very good on this team.
I do think the speed is kind of nice. Although you do have Zamazenta for speed, but aside from that, there's not a ton of speed.
I think the Oranguru is better in that spot because I think slowing it down and having the option for was made it okay, you have to still prep for that, and Klefki being on the field under Trick Room is not that scary.
Oh my God, Rabambi has Pollen Puff. That's what. Never mind. That's what is
that's his cleric.
Yeah,
that's the cleric. There it is. I forgot about Pollen Puff.
One thing that I noticed is this man, he has Pelipper, which is going to be, it's a good utility mon, Tailwind, Wide Guard, but I'm looking at his type chart. He does not want to take rain or water moves, most of the time either. It's you're boosting water damage into your team that doesn't have a lot of switch-ins into it.
It has a 1 fake resist.
Yeah. that is interesting. Component.
Actually, 2 fake resists.
I cannot get over Leafeon. That's not real.
I love Leafeon as a Pokemon. They won't get me wrong, but does he play the Sun teams?
It just does nothing on this team.
Does he play the Sun teams at least? Let me look.
Unfortunately, I don't think Leafeon would help.
Yeah, you don't want to break this is a grass type.
Well, hey. Fast.
So he played the one non-fire Sun team.
He does play.
Let's see,
Quahog Cloysters,
Adrian.
He does play Adrian.
He's got Typhlosion now, so it actually is.
What was the other? Tick Bite's the other one. No, he only plays Adrian. That's at the very end of the season, so maybe we'll see some Leafeon action. Never know.
We'll see. I don't know. I love Leafeon. It's my favorite Eevee.
Yeah, good taste. Gen 4 has the best evolutions.
They're so good.
It's 2 of the top 4 for sure. I think I like Umbreon and Vaporeon more, but it's close up top. They're all good.
Vaporeon's up there. Umbreon, I've never been a big I like him utility wise, but in terms of aesthetic.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, clearly he didn't save your season in Nat Dex.
Did I have Umbreon? Wait.
No, I had Umbreon in Nat Dex, and he saved my season. He was the GOAT.
That's true. I've had him before in singles, so I know what he can do. All right.
Okay. Can I actually go first on this one?
You want to go back? Go ahead.
I know I just went first.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is my hot take, I guess. Maybe not even. This is so far and away Weaselman's best team that he's ever drafted.
Yes.
This team is so good. I think this is in my top 3. I have a tier of.
Okay.
I think an announced tier. And it is Conix, obviously. This one I have one more. We'll save for.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it now.
Yeah.
But yes, this one I think this team is incredible. I think that it's the most balanced of a Sun team that I've seen so far. Because most of the time, when people Sun teams they go way too hard on Chlor. And I think just sticking to the one is really smart when it's such a good one to pair with Groudon, and then you getting your Sun abuse from other ways. Really nice because it keeps your type variety, which I think is something that normally Sun teams really lack. And I think this one has it because especially when your Sun setter, you can pair it with another great fire type like Charizard, and I don't know. I think this team is incredible.
Your points getting your cross here. I do want to point out before we get too far into this that once in a while your mic cuts out a little bit. So I don't know if there's something you can do to fix that. But no, this is a great team. Like you mentioned, Jumpluff is like his favorite partner is Groudon. So like that was an amazing pickup. Like you essentially get your Prankster Tailwind user for a very like good budget. Like Jumpluff's a great mod next to Groudon.
And Sleep Powder.
It's got Sleep Powder.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, you could do what is it? Was it a Sweet Scent and like make Precipice Blades 100%?
I didn't even think about that. That's a really funny.
But then you have let's see, he's got 2 Paradox Mons, which you get. I don't think he had a
3.
Or does he have 3?
Gouging Fire,
Brute I looked over Brute Bonnet. He does have 3 grass types. So like that maybe it's kind of like you what I mentioned in the previous team, right? So you're setting some, but like you have like a decent fire weakness across your team.
But I mean, Ogerpon is got Sturdy, and Jumpluff is probably having the Focus Sash, so it doesn't actually change too much that they're stacking that. Like those are the guys.
Yeah, Ogerpon's neutral on it.
Yeah,
and then you have like
Ogerpon doesn't actually share a lot of the weaknesses. So
yeah, and you're bringing Gouging Fire
it's nice.
Every game too. So like it's like quad resist. But let's see. He picked up the Clefable today after the Wobbuffets dropped it off, so he got his redirection mon.
Also, it's going to be really hard to kill because Moonlight heals 66% in Sun.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. The let's see. Now I know Brute Bonnet's been like making some waves in regular VGC. I don't know. I mean, I know it has Spore, but like, what's making it stand out now than it didn't have before? Obviously,
basically a tier Amoonguss that has 127 attack stat that gets boosted in Sun, like with a free life orb essentially. So it's just Amoonguss that can do damage pretty much.
Okay.
You also don't have to boost. You don't have to boost attack. You can also boost defense or special defense. I think it can get the boost in any of the 3.
The only one you can't get is like
which is really cool. No speed. Yeah,
you wouldn't want it. But the I think he has what a lot of people consider nowadays like the best Ogerpon, just because you get that sturdy.
Yes, in restricted format. Yeah.
The and then like this is like the one place Charizard's good with like Solar Power, or, like Life Orb, or whatever you want to do with it.
Let me look actually if Charizard actually gets Tailwind, because I remember there was a time I thought about drafting it and it didn't have access to Tailwind, but it could have gotten it in the DLC.
It's a TM now.
Yeah.
So
no, it doesn't. It doesn't have Tailwind. No Tailwind.
Really?
So it's a
That's interesting.
here.
No, it's a TM, but Charizard doesn't learn it. I remember because I wanted to run Sun in a past league, and I decided to not do it when I saw Charizard didn't have Tailwind, because I thought it'd be really fun to have Charizard as a Tailwind setter, like all right speed tier, but then just a little bit of utility on it. Obviously, Weaselman doesn't need that with the Jumpluff on there, but Charizard's a little bit. It's kind of just a nuke at that point, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like Specs, like Solar Power Heat Wave is going to like it's that is a nuclear bomb. Yeah.
If
you can get
Go ahead.
Okay, if you can somehow get Tailwind and have Charizard in the back, and like the Jumpluff die or whatever, and bring in the Charizard, like it does not like I don't care what you have like sitting on the field. They commented you have to like a wide guard mon that also resists both ground and fire. It's basically like, and I don't know if that exists. Oh, actually, I do. It's Araquanid, but nobody has it. So.
But he's weak to flying is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Colin,
so
are you prepared for Terra Fairy Lightning Rod Pikachu?
I think I'm prepared for Terra Fairy Lightning Rod Pikachu. I think I will be okay.
They also don't play.
Do they not? Oh.
No, I think
I'm looking at the wrong schedule. You're right.
I play this team.
I play a total of one. I think one playoff team from last season, and it's Conix.
That's true. Oh, Philadelphia Smeargles too.
Oh yeah, actually, I put 2. That's right. I knew it wasn't 1.
What does Rev? I mean, I know we're in D tier, so I'm not criticizing it. But what does Rev Rim do?
He just has a lot of stats and filters and good ability.
Overcoat's also good too, actually. Spore.
It's got 2 good abilities.
I like flexible abilities. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he also doesn't have a steel type at that point, or a poison type. So I guess it's just 2 types he didn't have already.
It's a mon that I've always thought has been, could be good on the right team. I'm not sure if this will still be the right team for it. I don't see a lot of cases where he would want to bring it because I think the rest of the team is so strong. But I think it's a nice option.
there's some teams where it's like they have a very strong top tier. Like if we go back to the Whitsett Wobbuffets, like at the top tiers, they're bringing most of them, but I think they do usually have to dip into like one mon that is pretty like not great. Whereas this, I don't think he could feasibly go the entire season without ever bringing Pikachu or Revavroom, just because his top tiers are that good and they cover so much just with those 8 mons.
And his C tiers, yeah, not even top tiers.
Yeah, no, I was saying top tiers as in everything but the Ds.
Nice. Let's see. Is there any weakness? I mean, I guess he doesn't have wide guard. Is there anything else that like kind of stands out here?
No Trick Room.
I was about to say, how do we think he's gonna do into Trick Room?
One thing that's really good about Amoonguss normally is that Amoonguss is great into Trick Room. Brute Bonnet not so much, but you can actually spore Trick Room setters no matter how slow your guy is. You can spore them before they can set it up. Obviously, they could be holding like a Lumberry, but then they have to make the choice: are we going to run Lumberry or are we going to run Mental Herb?
That's a good point. Like this team's forcing a lot of people to bring safety goggles because you have 2 sleep threats here.
Yeah, 1 safety goggles, and like you can't even Terra Grass either. Normally, if it's just like Amoonguss, you could Terra Grass, but you really don't want to do that when there's a Gouging Fire or Charizard.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Even Slitherwing.
Yeah.
Does Slitherwing get Flare Blitz?
Well, it does, but it's lunge. It just hits it.
Fair.
But it does get Flare Blitz, though. Yes.
Very cool. No, I meing this is a great team. I mean, I guess he should sleep through the first 3 rounds or whatever he did. Watch the show, but more often. But
good thing he had his co-counsel there.
Yeah. His associate.
No, it's a very good team, and it's a nice team to look at. I like all the colors. So there's my unofficial.
The prettiest Weaselman, the best and prettiest Weaselman team
good
ever.
Point. This is the best looking Weaselman team I've ever seen for multiple reasons.
There are some Uggos on it, but I think the colors make the Uggos more pleasant.
I don't even know if there's.
I'd say Brute Bonnet's Uggy.
The which one?
I said Bonnet. Yeah, Brute Bonnet.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't like his beak. Why does he have a beak?
I don't know.
I don't really like Slitherwing either, but I know a lot of people do.
I like all the moths. I'm a moth enjoyer. But or I should say the Volcarona moths. There's probably some other moths in Pokemon I'm not a huge fan of, but
Mothim.
I'm not a hater. All right, next up we have the Gateway Glaciers, and Colin, I'll let you lead this one. I know you've been itching to talk about it.
Yeah, so this one, Connor and I both talked like kind of about it at length. Chilla, I'm speaking directly to you when I say this. I know that you love your ice types, but ice type is just not a good type to stack up on. It's like 1, maybe 2 if you have a snow mode, which you do. But I do not think that you need all 3 of those specially offensive fast ice types that all do the exact same thing. And I think that you definitely did better by getting rid of Crabominable. But I think that like 4 was just egregious. I think still 3 ice types is probably too many to have on one team. I think it's totally salvageable, but right now it's like it's pretty rough, especially when you have 1 steel, like you have 2 steel resists with your Ogerpon and Chandelure. Like the other issue with the team is that Chandelure doesn't seem to do very much. It overlaps on typings with both of its typings, and it's not that fast. And it also kind of overlaps with Kyurem because it also has the Kyurem also gets fire type moves because from the white. I like a lot of the low tier picks actually. I think the low tier part of the team is my favorite part. But I think overall, it's so frail and is like too overlapping with a lot of
look at Rock on the type matchup. 5 Rock weaknesses and 2 Rock resists, both of which are the 2 ground types. I literally think that switching Chandelure for like a solid steel type would almost fix this.
No, I think the Chandelure is a big redundant piece, right? Because he's got Ghost, he's got Fire. And and Colin's saying, please give me Iron Bundle, but
no, I don't think you can give Colin, even maybe trade it to someone else, but we can't let this man get Bundle.
I respect the Kyurem love. I mean, that's probably it's one of my favorite restricteds in general. But maybe not in function, but it overlaps a ton with Iron Bundle. Like you're not getting a lot of variety there.
I mean, one thing about the Iron Bundle is that this team isn't like really fast. Like it's not very fast at all. You don't have you do have Sableye for Prankster, but that's not Prankster like speed control aside from like Quash, I guess, unless it gets maybe it gets Thunderwave, but I don't think
it's Thunderwave.
Oh, does it?
Does.
Huh. But I guess why would you not just run Quash? Yeah. It's permanent, I suppose. But yeah, Bundle really does help out your speed control with Booster Energy, Icy Wind. Yeah, which I think actually is kind of necessary. Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that the team is I don't know. I think the Bundle is okay. It's good offensively, right? Like it's great offensively, but it just kills your defenses like a lot.
We'll talk about some positives.
I guess
I like the upgrade from Ogerpon Grass to Fire.
Absolutely,
You didn't need the Defiant on your team and having an actual Fire type. Well, I mean, I guess you had Chandelure, but either way, this is a better Fire type. And you get some more Breaker Action, which I don't know how that comes into play in most form factors, but Ogerpon Flame is just better.
Great into Heatran, actually. Heatran is looking incredible into this team at the moment. Like all the Ice types walled by it, except I guess Bundle. Chandelure does nothing to it, but you do have 2 ground types, so I guess that would be your way of dealing with it. But Mold Breaker helps a ton, just being able to punch that guy.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Heatran's known to Terra Grass, so I mean, having a fire, your fire option still is going through, and if he doesn't Terra Grass, then yeah, your ground options are actually going to be, hitting. I agree with Colin though. I like the Swampert in the lower end. I think that's a great mod. You get Wide Guard. Hisuian Quillfish I've had in the past. It's great. It's a great budget pick. It's got Intimidate. It's got Haze, so it's really good into like the Dondoza matchup. I don't know if you play against the New York Ninetales. I'd have to pull up your schedule.
I can pull it up.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's on the. I mean, what would y'all switch?
They do play.
Would you switch out the Kyurem then instead over the Bundle?
No, I would switch.
I think you find a trade partner for the Bundle.
You definitely trade the Chandelure. That goes without question. Is he still good to keep 3 Ice types though?
I wouldn't. I know Chilla loves Ice types. I think he probably will. I wouldn't though. But I also don't know if there's anybody else who would like Bundle. There's surely someone.
I can think of one person. I think of one person who would like Bundle.
No.
Yeah.
No. Draft board. I mean, what's left up there? So it's like Thundurus, Roaring Moon, Dragapult.
Yeah, you definitely don't waver it.
Well, no. What's in the Kyurem was a B? Yeah, there's only
Doggo.
Yeah.
Oh no, just B.
Yeah, but it's only Doggo's left up there, and I don't think he wants that either. So I mean, yeah, you can buckle down with him. But yeah, definitely think of something for the Chandelure. And you guys were thinking what? You said Steel?
I said Steel. Yeah, I think you would really want a Steel type here.
Because Ice is weak.
Well, if there's something available.
Yes and no, right? Because like Steel shares fighting and fire weaknesses.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I think you need like a rock.
Maybe could we go like a
yeah.
You are Empoleon. It's rock resist and it's not weak to fire.
A lot of stab.
There's Bronzong too. Heat-proof Bronzong maybe.
He could. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, let's look at some of the other things he's got in here. So he has Fake Out, which is good. He's got Follow Me, great. Wide Guard. You mentioned the fast
screens
wind
and
control.
Aurora Veil too.
Yep. Stable is a great pickup for that. You also have, for some reason you can't keep the weather up, you can do Gravity to get your Blizzards to be 100%, or your Hydro Pumps in the case of Bundle.
Okay, look at how much heavy lifting Sableye is doing on the useful moves.
I mean,
Sableye is ridiculous.
To be fair, that is his role, right? To be a little utility bot. But I mean, yeah, he's definitely like your Smeargle in a way. So, but does this team need more forms of speed control, right? Because you mentioned the Bundle, and it's like he doesn't really have any Slush Rush, and like he does a Tailwind in Flygon, but you're probably not going to bring Flygon every game.
No, not every game. I could see it coming sometimes, especially if you have a rock matchup. You might need both ground types.
The one nice thing I'll say about Chandelure is it is like a Trick Room and Prison mon, but he doesn't have any psychic types, so he could get that somewhere else too.
I think Bronzong does that too, as well as could be heat proof, could be levitate if you want ground resist. Not that you're crazy ground weak here.
Yeah. He's only got 2, and he's got Animute. Yeah, it's not the worst. Yeah, you want to look like the kind of like the top there, right? So you mentioned the rock. Like Poison's actually a pretty big one between the Ogerpon and the Ninetales. But he does have a lot of poison resist.
The third one's Alcremie too, which is like not crazy.
No,
gonna come every week.
I backpedal a little bit because I look right below it, and then there's like half. So like maybe not that bad. So yeah, really it's the rock. So like I guess that's why you brought up the steel. He's already got 2 ground types. Like what else is this rock? Fighting? You don't have any fighting types. Like a fighting type would be great.
Yeah, hey, let me look. Yeah, there's actually Hitmontop's still available. It gives you Intimidate, and it's a fighting type.
Does he not have he doesn't have an Intimidator yet, does he?
Well, he's got Quillfish. But that's...
Right.
Yeah. Terracion's available. He doesn't have any beat up, but you don't need it.
No, I don't think so. We're looking at B tier.
Infernate. Yeah, Gallade is available too, actually. That was on a team.
Oh, actually,
yeah, I actually think Gallade's pretty good.
That's actually perfect because it gives him the fighting. It gives him the Trick Room in prison. It's another wide guard user. I think that's a very serious consideration.
I like Gallade definitely above Chandelure. I think Gallade is probably the best B2 that we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. And it also has I don't know if it's as big a thing, but it does have some priority that it can use if you're lacking some speed. But yeah, I think that's a good pickup. But I mean, we're not gonna sit here and try to change everything. But I think we've given a pretty good overview. I think you have a lot of good parts. I think maybe there's definitely some shift that's too heavy in certain spots, and you can certainly patch it up with a trade or two.
And actually, speaking of the rock weakness, real quick before we change, the most common rocks move is Rock Slide. So adding a second wide guarder actually also helps to patch that up because it can protect some of your ice or your rock weaknesses from Rock Slide, the most common rock move.
Good point.
That's true.
Good point. All right, let's see here. Another return of a nightmare team, but in stronger function. I'll take this one.
All right.
So this is definitely a return to style for Trey. We saw this in season 2 with the Ursaluna Farigiraf combo. You get your crazy mono to Trick Room. People can't stop your priority. No fake out. This time though, he has Calyrex Ice as an S tier instead of what do you get? Iron Hand? Not Iron Hands, but Iron Hands in that position I guess last time. But obviously Calyrex Ice is a monster. Spread moves, can set up Trick Room itself. So just gonna be already a nightmare in the first 3 mons. And then you have Torkoal, another mon that can function at Trick Room, but it also gives him a Sun mode. So he has, the traditional Lilligant after you Torkoal Eruption combo. You have Executor, who's like fantastic for this kind of team, where it can it could be a Chlorophyll user, but it also can be another like Trick Room option, and can set Trick Room for him. Let's see. He's got Wide Guard with Minshao. He's got some Fake Out for his own side. I think Minshao is a great mon. I love that mon.
I think so too. Yeah.
Blastoise, Icy Wind. It had something else I'm forgetting about. Fake Out.
Fake
obviously. Out. There was something else I thought it had.
It used to get Follow Me. I don't think it does. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
But our net decks pilled a sheet here, but I thought there was something else it had because maybe Haze is the thing I'm thinking of. I don't know if he plays against.
Yes, it does get Haze.
Yeah. So again, if there's any.
He does play Dozo as well.
Ah, okay. So yeah, there's that.
He's big man Blastoise. That's all you need to know.
Let's see. He's got Intimidator with Luxray. I'm not the biggest Luxray believer, but I think was it you, Colin, who was giving praise to Luxray?
I think both of us.
I think Luxray. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's. I mean, as a D tier, it's a decent D tier that I could actually see myself bringing, and that's more than most D tiers.
It's got attack. 120 attack is nothing to scoff at. So I mean, hey. And then I guess the only thing I didn't talk about was like the Comfey, which is like just like a healing support mon, priority, Draining Kiss, and what's the other healing? Like was it Life 2 or is it Heal Pulse? What is it?
Floral healing.
Floral healing. Thank you. He's got bulky
basically
mons, so great for that.
Yeah, those first 2 guys just getting healed by Comfey nearly unkillable. Like you'd have to go through the Comfey first, and that buys those guys 1 or 2 turns to just be ridiculous.
Even if it's just one turn, 1 extra turn of Calyrex Ice, Glacial Lance is insane. That could be half your team.
1 more blood move.
And Comfey is one of the fun mons that gets both Trick Room and Tailwind, so it can set up either one for his team. Yeah. so you don't really know which way it's gonna go. Because this team, like, it is very slow, but if you don't invest in your speed expecting Trick Room, Tailwind could just catch you off guard, and then you're going to get outsped by these guys under Tailwind.
That happened to me last time I played him.
Yep, everybody but Torkoal.
Yeah, fair point. Let's see. Looking at the types board, is there anything that kind of stands out? Seems pretty balanced.
A little bit flying weak, but that's just a lot of the low tier grass options plus Mienshao.
I guess he doesn't really have. No, he has. I was gonna say he doesn't have a many switches to dragons. He has one immunity, but it's just Comfey. So like maybe you can like click dragon moves into this team. I mean, I guess the same could be said of fairy, right? There's only Torkoal to eat up fairy moves. But I mean,
the weird thing though is that I guess it's because ice and grass overlap a lot. But like you see fire, you see bug and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But then like that's just Calyrex, because Calyrex's typing is pretty bad objectively. It's just carried by its stats.
Anyways, but yeah.
Yeah. And then it's also, he's just got 2 grass types that just make it look like he's weak to fire and make it look like he's weak to bug, but he's really not. Yeah, he's not bringing this, and the Sun Core is not coming all the time.
I could argue bug is like pretty decent too.
Yeah, because it's for a giraffe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like, the one resist is there's I guess Torkoal and Comfey, and there's quite a few resist still, but like Torkoal, you don't really want to be taking hits anyway because it weakens your eruption.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I think if you were to argue bug, fairy, maybe dragon, but I think overall this is pretty well balanced across the types.
No, it's and the Pokemon like themselves are ridiculously bulky, so even super effective hits are not at risk for one shots anyway. And he's got healing too, so he can just heal off chip.
Yeah, this is one of the teams I alluded to earlier, where people it was one of the 2 teams that people were just kind of mentioning between yours, Connor, and this one were like the 2 standout teams that people were kind of afraid of to play.
Yeah,
and I think part of that is they've seen this show before. Right. So.
Yeah, actually, that's true, because Gliss playing Trick Room, me playing Rain, both of which have been menaces in the past.
Yep.
Absolutely. Is there anything else?
And maybe the only thing would be if Fred got Miraidon instead of Colin, then Fred with Electric Sword.
That's true.
The triple threat.
Oh gosh. Yeah, if Miraidon went down to number 9, I would have questioned, or was it 9? Either way. No, it was like 7.
It was never getting past me.
It was 7,
regardless. Even if Colin didn't take it, I was 100% taking it.
I don't think it was actually technically getting past. Actually, I have to remember Boko's list. Did he have? He had Miraidon on it, but I can't remember if he actually had it above or.
I think it was Rapid Strike first, and then Miraidon second, and then Tomba was like, "Are you sure you don't want to put the other way around?" He's like, "No, I really want Rapid Strikes."
I gotta respect. When one of your favorites is busted, I guess you have to respect it. But
honestly, yeah.
All right. Up next, we have the Quahog Cloysters. Ooh, I love looking at this team. Pretty team. But Connor, why don't you lead this one off?
Yeah. This team, I remember during the draft, this had like one of the scariest first 4 Mons, but then immediately kind of just like lost the sauce, because originally that Sandy Shocks was a Tingaloo, and we're like, I remember like we're like, what's the Tingaloo doing there? Because the first 4, I guess they're not in order here. It was Walking Wake, Koraidon, Whimsicott, and Venusaur. I think actually Koraidon was the first one. But it's like, that's a crazy Sun Core, right? You get Koraidon to set the Sun, not a Fire type, so you don't actually double up with other Fire types. Then you have Venusaur as your Chlorophyll Mon. I like Venusaur with Koraidon a lot because that quad weakness to Fairy shored up a little bit by the Poison typing on Venusaur. Then Walking Wake is great as, like pretty much the only Water type that works on a Sun team. So I feel like both Sun teams probably would have been fighting for that if this one didn't just yoink it first.
Yep.
And then Whimsicott is great Prankster. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think Prankster weather is like ridiculously good on weather. Like, you kind of need one, and I think you don't need it, but if you're playing the Weather War, you're severely disadvantaged if you don't have Prankster weather. And in this league, there's like 6 or 7 weather teams. Like, there's a lot of weather teams. You kind of want to have that on your dedicated weather team.
And how many
of
them have a Prankster Mon, right? I know yours does with
these,
but
mine does, because that was the biggest mistake I made in season 4, was not having a Prankster Mon. And I had to play like perfectly, I think, to get around some of the matchups. It would have been a lot easier if I had one. Let me look at the teams actually.
Whitsett Wobbuffets has Klefki.
This team has that Whimsicott. Gliss doesn't have one, but Gliss just kind of has a mode, not a full team. What is the other weather team? Oh, not Bocos. Chilla has weather, but no prankster. Oh, Sableye, but it doesn't get Snowscape.
Yeah, that's a tragic thing for Snows. The only one that gets it is Tornadus.
Torn. Yeah. So I love the Whimsicott here. I would have. I mean, I thought about it, but it only gets sunny day. It doesn't get rain, so it doesn't even work on rain. Then he did make some correct changes. I think he swapped the Tingaloo for a Sandy Shocks, which I think is crazy good, and I can't believe he didn't take it right up front. Just as a photosynthesis mon, ground is just great coverage here. And then he also swapped for Typhlosion as well. You know, just the eruption spam is just something that you just
huge.
Even if you don't plan on bringing it, making your opponents just like it feels weird that before that it was a sun team with no fire type.
That is weird.
So I like adding a fire type. Yeah. Yeah. Now the one pick that really confuses me more than anything else is the Suicune.
Suicune.
Yeah, I don't get it.
know what he's doing there.
It's like a tailwind but you have Whimsicott, so like I don't know.
I think there's like the meme of you have both Walking Wake and Suicune, but I think this team could legitimately be like a top 4 or 5 team if you swap the Suicune for a real mon.
Yeah. How do you feel about the lower tier picks here?
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. I like Ambipom a lot for like the speed tier for Fake Out. It just hits really hard. The problem is I'm not a huge fan of Clodsire or Avalugg, though. Clodsire to me in VGC just feels very sit there and don't do a whole lot. And Avalugg is kind of just wide guard machine, which is fine, but I think there's probably some better options. It was the last pick, though, so maybe there wasn't better D tier wide guarders at the time.
Maybe. I think there's maybe, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But the
Hisui and Avalugg.
I want to believe in Clodsire. What a good boy. But the
Singles Demon he's just too passive for VGC, I think.
He's got some good abilities, right? I mean, you got Unaware, so I mean, I guess if you're going up against like some big setup, well, even then you might would want like Water Absorb, depending on the
exactly for
Dozo. If it's Dozo, you need Water Absorb, but then you're not Unaware, so you die to Earthquake. It's to
beat Dozo, you'd have to be Unaware and also commit your Terra to it.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. Which let me see if Walking Wake gets Haze, then Dozo matchup is kind of free. I actually don't know if it does or not though.
Does Clodsire get Haze?
No, Walking Wake does not get Haze. I know Suicune gets Haze.
Yeah.
But it's slower than. Oh, it actually doesn't. Never mind. I lied.
I don't even know if this team plays that team, to be fair. But.
Oh yeah, I should look at that first. This is QC. They do play week 3.
Okay.
I just remember, like, at the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, Clodsire was being considered as a tech for Dondozo, and it just didn't work.
Skeletors is what I ended up using. Skeletors was pretty good into it, but you had to commit your Terra to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always wondered, like, in that situation, like, your other monster's kind of, like, dying in the meantime, though, right? Like
exactly. That's why I was saying, for Dozo, yeah. You know, you kind of just bring it down to a Dozo 1v2, I guess technically 2, but really 1v1. Because they're never going to lead Dozo Giri, or they shouldn't at least. They're always going to lead something else first, and then bring Dozo in the back.
Yeah, you never know. I've seen Canoe lead with it.
Yes. That's why I said should, not always, but should. I like it. I don't know. I think the Suicune, it's like 1 or 2 trades away from being a great team. I think, as it's like a pretty good team right now, but I think it could be great.
No, I think this is a very scary team. I'm glad I don't have to play it. I always harp on, I don't think Whimsicott's like S tier pick. It clearly is like clearly it's the like if not Tornadus, it's the best like prankster tailwind mon. And it's just that I like to find that value somewhere else and pick up some power up front.
Yeah.
But yeah, Whimsicott's fantastic, and like you mentioned, for weather teams, having the ability to immediately put the sun right back up is great, and the tailwind it's
like especially on like the biggest thing is that even though like Whimsicott's fast, so you're gonna lose to other pranks, like quote unquote lose to other pranksters. Well, you got fast taunt for that, but just the ability to, even if I said this earlier on, but like even if your sun is up from Koraidon, you just click Sunny Day over and over again, And then if you ever catch their guy trying to switch in and catch you off guard, it covers for it, right? And you don't lose anything if you get it wrong other than a Whimsicott turn, which if Tailwind's up, it didn't do that much. Oh, Whimsicott, I guess, in that regard, is better than something like Volbeat or Illumise because Whimsicott actually can put out some serious damage with Moonblast compared to Volbeat and Illumise. So you do have to respect it in that regard. You can't just let Whimsicott sit there. Whereas if Volbeat and Illumise, you just kill their partner, and then the fake tears doesn't mean anything if the partner dies before it can go. But Whimsicott can put out some significant damage, and that's also why I would consider Tornadus higher, as Bleak Wind is just ridiculous.
Now I did use was it Lunge and Skitter Smack with Volbeat to good effect. I felt like it was pretty good at mitigating and still putting on like some decent chip. But
the big thing is the attacker special attack drop.
Yeah,
it's really good.
The so something about this team. Does this team play against the Winterville Weavile?
No.
Okay, because I'm looking at those weaknesses, and there's that giant psychic gap. Like Psyspan would just utterly eat this team. And flying.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, flying does decently well too. And ground.
You probably
Ice does quite well.
Would want a.
Yeah.
You probably would want a dark type on this team. I guess maybe that's what the Tingler was for, maybe, and then he swapped it.
But he does have some like if you're playing against this team, like okay, I know how to hit them, and you just have to figure out how to do it. But yeah, there are a lot.
I feel like you also might want a steel type because you do have 2 dragons. So like fairy moves are also pretty free except for the Venusaur and Quagsire.
Which,
so maybe
again,
a steel type.
Again, he got rid of the Magnezone, so like maybe that was his original thought.
That's true.
That's true. You're right. That would have helped with ice. It would have helped with flying. It would have helped with psychic. It would make ground worse though, like way worse. So yeah, I mean, give and take. I don't know if there's something in the because again, looking at Steam, it's wonderful. So like, I wonder if there is like a big value budget pick, maybe in D tier, that can maybe patch up some of those typings for him. And I'm not asking to do that research right now, but
maybe if Magnezone had Levitate, it would be like really good here. But no Levitate is hurting it because that ground weakness, like you said.
Yeah, it's always been a weird one not to have Levitate because it clearly it is off the ground.
Yeah,
it would be really good if you had Levitate.
Let's see. Anything else I want to critique here? I guess there's what is this? I guess you can taunt against Trick Room teams. I don't know. You have Fake Out, so you have a few options there. But I mean, if you have like Mental Herb Frigoref, I don't know what you're doing to stop him from getting.
It's going up.
Yeah. What else? No redirection, but that might not be a big problem.
This team looks very hyper offense, which is why, like, maybe if you had a bulkier team, Clodsire could do something. But on a team this offensive, I feel like it's just gonna die before Toxic takes anything down, or the partners are gonna die.
Yeah. No, yeah, the Clod's definitely out of place for sure. So unless
this is like those first 4, the first 5 plus Typhlosion, like ridiculous hyper offense, and like I like that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. FSP, that's a free B tier pickup. I think
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So he can definitely get some value to like patch up something there for sure. Cool.
Yeah,
definitely agree.
All right.
New York Ninetales.
I'll let you go again because I'm next after this.
Okay. I have not had a lot of time to break this one down after the trades. But I do think it got a lot better.
Oh yeah.
I think Dozo Giri is obviously a crazy combo. We know that, but I think in general, I think my only problem is like type diversity. I think is not very good, but that kind of comes with the territory of Dozo Giri. Overall, I think it's a really solid like offensive team that has some questions about defense that are kind of answered quite a bit by Dozo, but not necessarily perfectly. I think Fluttermane obviously great first pick, and then Glimmersnarl is a good last pick. It was a great last pick, but I think the overall core with King Gambit and Dozo and Rayquaza, King Gambit like protecting it from Intimidate is really really valuable. I don't necessarily love the Armarouge. But I also just don't like Armarouge ever. I feel like you have to have exactly in DD right next to it, or I think our Armarouge is going to be bad. So somebody else is going to have to like take that one.
I was in the call when he picked that one up. So he was originally thinking about picking up Gallade, and I'm trying to remember like because this already had Wide Guard, but it offered some other things like what was it, like a trick room? Well, I can't remember if it was like the trick room mode he wanted.
Gallade does trick room. Actually, Gallade probably had trick rooms better because it also has imprisoned.
Yeah, I think he also was missing a fire type that he wanted to get.
I think a big thing, Gallade. Look at his fairy type matchup already. Gallade just adds an extra fairy weakness.
Yep, because he was missing a fire type.
And this adds a resist.
Yes, that was it. Thank you.
Because fairy types is kind of crazy here.
Yes, that was it. And Colin, you mentioned
because the problem is your steel type doesn't resist fairy. So adding a resist is helpful.
And you also mentioned extra waters, which can be mitigated by changing those D tiers if you really wanted to. But I think Lantern's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I like Lantern a lot. It's a solid D tier. And I think Toxifex is really fun. Toxifex as we've day 2 to regional just recently.
Yeah, top 20.
Recently?
Yep.
Yeah, like Milwaukee.
Oh shoot!
The most recent.
I knew like.
There was one after that.
Oh, it was okay.
I know there were a couple of formats ago that it did something. It had like Infestation, Baneful Bunk. I'm trying to remember this. I was just looking at this the other day. I think it had probably Haze or something for like Dozos, which is I guess kind of funny. That's a Dozo counter that's not in the.
Yeah. No, literally, like Toxapex. If you can honestly, this team feels like a team that could even use Toxic Spikes in VGC. Like. The big Dozo thing in essentially lower powered formats. It's never seen much success in restricted, but you'd set up Toxic Spikes with Glimora just because you get them for free, and then you have Dozo with like Rest or something in the back, and then you just let everything die to poison because they'll never be able to kill your Dozo. He could easily do that. I think the big value of Toxic Spikes though is that it feels like Clodsire right until you see that it gets Wide Guard. It's like okay, that's what he's going to be clicking, and he's going to get a ton of value out of that. Whereas Clodsire just kind of sits there and doesn't do much. Toxapex provides some amount of protection for its partner, which I think is it's a lot better than Clodsire as a D tier.
Yeah, it's Wide Guard, so hey.
That's what I was saying, is that's the value that it uses.
Yep. Sorry, I missed
it protects its partner.
Yep. That's great. Colin, how do you feel about the Rayquaza pick? I know that was his dream restricted, but...
So I think that Rayquaza is bad if you don't have Chi and Pow.
And that was like his round 1, like what he really wanted, and then
I know he wants Chi and Pow, and I think that is a good combo. I've used it in the regular VGC, but I also, because I've used it in regular VGC, I also know that Rayquaza just doesn't hit hard enough without it.
So I'm gonna pause you here. I don't know if you're hearing it too, Connor. He's roboting.
I am hearing it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll take over. But yeah, I mean, the idea is like you get Chimpao, you do like the funny Dragonite thing, Terra Normal, and you click like the E-Speed button. And, if you can, you Dragon Dance first, and then you like really click the E-Speed button.
Swords Dance.
Yeah, with Rayquaza. Oh yeah, also with E-Speed, no reason not to Swords Dance instead.
Yeah, what I say.
You Dragon Dance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I meant to say Sword Dance. Wrong dance.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like scratching my head. I was like, dang, did my mic mess up? No, my brain messed up. Got it. I don't like the Hydrapple pick here.
Yes.
I agree.
I think you don't need the 3 dragons. So I guess Tatsugiri kind of doesn't really count, but that's what's. If you just replace that with something else, you have your fairy weakness gets a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, the Tatsugiri wasn't there initially, so he probably wasn't thinking about dragon weakness. And also, to be fair, he's got double fairies, so double dragon. That's for the dragon, which also all 3 dragons are weak to. But that helps his dragon weakness.
Mm-hmm.
The double fairies.
So he's done 3 trades so far. So you got the Dozo, the Tatsu, and you got the Armor Rouge. So he's got 2 left. So maybe I could see that Hydrapple spot being a good candidate for one of them. I mean, I think the rest of the front. Yeah, the front
I think everything else is pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Is there anything that this team really kind of like needs, like typing wise?
Redirection would be nice. But I don't know if there's anything crazy good left.
Well,
typing wise,
it's in the D tier. It's not gonna be, or it's gonna be C tier. It's not gonna be like crazy.
Yeah.
But, so it might exist.
You'd probably want to ground. Well, he's got Rayquaza and Hydrapple's probably potentially swapping.
Yeah.
But so you do want maybe something for a ground resist.
I mean, a new grass type probably would be nice if there's any good ones in there. Just save your Firewater Grass still. But...
Rotom Mo down there.
That's not.
I actually like that a lot.
Levitate. Yeah. I could see that.
Levitate.
It gives them a little bit better of an electric type other than the Lantern. So.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Yep. I'm a fan of Mo. Had him last double season, I believe.
Yeah, you did. I remember we played twice.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget that.
That guy was the best guy that you had into me. I think that typing was so difficult to take out with rain.
But then you just terra bugged everything, so it didn't really matter. But
that is what I did the second time around.
Oh my! Anything else we want to talk about this team?
No, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, that was my turn.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, my turn. So going into this, a number 13 spot. I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to bank on any of the crazy restricted, so maybe I'll look at snatch up a really good S tier, one that could be really flexible. So like Flutter was like my big one because like you can do anything with Flutter. You can put her with anything, she's gonna be good. And I got taken like right before me, but as I remember, it was Tyler Strong. I was like, hey, if you take, I didn't tell him what I wanted, but like if you take one of the ones I want, at this point I've made it. I'm gonna get somebody that I've planned around. So I got Bolt. I've Bolt historically, before we went into a restricted format, was like the number one used. He was just a very solid mon. And granted, and I've mentioned this before too, I'm not the best, I think, in terms of like smartly utilizing Sucker Punch or working around Sucker Punch. So this is gonna be a chance for me to kind of improve on that a little bit with Thunderclap. But then I
wait real quick. Look at your fire weaknesses. Look at that 1 1/4 fire weakness.
I know.
On Toxicroak.
I always for some reason thought Dry Skin was a full like normal fire weakness. So I looked at that. I was like, well, I've never seen that before.
1 1/4. All right, sorry to derail. I just had to point that out.
Round 2, I kind of like brain farted / rolled the dice. And so like Ty was like behind me, so he wasn't coming back around anyways before this decision was made. I was gonna grab, like on my plan, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get Raging Bolt, Lunala, and Illumise, so I'll have like good Trick Room options, and they'll be also good in like Tailwind. But then I got it in my head like, oh, I don't know if Lunala will come back to me, and I should have like, one, noticed that, and two, like looked ahead to see if anybody else like would fit their team, like their first pick. But either way, I grabbed Lunala for my second pick. I think it's gonna be it's a great mon in general in current restricted. You get the built-in like wide guard. It's got a great move pool with like Fairy and Ice, Meteor Beam. So I think it's a really good draft pick in that regard. But then of course you sniped the Illumise, so I didn't get my Prankster Tailwind. And actually I don't have that at all this season, so that's another like quote unquote like not comfortable thing for me to kind of grow on, is like working around not having a Tailwind Prankster setter. Because in the past I had Volbeat and technically Talonflame. But I also saw you putting your Nightmare back together. So a question I had in my mind is like, I knew I wanted an Ogerpon, right? I didn't know which one. I was like, but I've used the Rock one in the past, and that's probably the best one. But like, I wanted to try a different one out. So it was really between like Hearthflame and Wellspring. And like, I saw you obviously led with Kyogre, and then you got the Archaludon back, and I'm just like, no way, this is happening. And I was like, I'm grabbing Wellspring just because of like specifically Connor. Like, I want to have at least something to like sit there in front of crazy. Like the water spouts and all that, and not have to care about it. So so again, I know it's getting an Ogerpon, but you helped encourage me to get the water one. So I got my water type, I got my grass type, and then I picked up Galarian Moltres. So like my game plan was, if I was gonna get Lunala, I didn't want to pick up any more Ghost or Psychic types, just knowing that every week there are going to be Dark moves and Ghost moves that are there for specifically Nala, and I didn't need anybody else being weak to those moves. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a Dark type, and I had like a list of Dark types for if I got Lunala, and one of them I quickly realized was a bad decision. I was like, wait a minute, Ting Lu's just going to nerf my special attacks. Like, not doing that. We'll get rid of that. I'm trying to remember who else was on the list. But I ended up going with the Moltres pick because it was a good like defensive dark type, and it also had Tailwind support if I wanted it. And I think it's going to be a good fit for this team. So I was happy to pick that up. I think I then picked up my fire type I picked up Tinkaton.
No.
It was Tinkaton. The return of the Tinkaton since season 2, so it's been a hot minute. But I wanted to get a fake out mon, and I didn't get any of the. Obviously, I didn't get any of the ones from the S tier. And I think I know she's a good mon. And in C tier, it's good value. Again, I get a fairy and steel type, which are great. I could praise all the crazy moveset that Tinkaton has, but I'm not gonna go that far down the rabbit hole. But happy to get her back. And I think Jordan was talking about like a fairy type. I was like, oh, there's Tinkaton right there, and like I was just like, yeah, Tinkaton's great. And I was like, don't pick it. And it got back to me. I was like, all right, I'm getting it now. I'm not waiting anymore on this. So picked up the Tinkaton. Then it was the Tauros, I'm pretty certain. Which is fine. I think Tauros is a great mon. It had Intimidate. It was a good fire type, fighting type. But I had Smeargle on this. It was like my A tier pick that I never filled in, and I was helping Bokos out. I was like, he could use this thing, and I really don't want to, like, I don't really need the Smeargle that badly. Like I've already got Redirection. I've already got Fake Out. I was like, I'll let you have it. I like Arcanine better than Tauros anyways, so like that gives me a Fire Intimidator, and I'll just get rid of the Tauros later. Which I finally did today. I've been debating. I actually was going to get Klefki, but then Theseus, I was like talking about it with him, and he's like, oh, I think it'd be, like, I really want it for my team. I was like, all right, you know what? I'll be a nice guy. You take the Klefki. I arguably think that still would have been a better fit than Mamo, but I think Mamo is great. It gives me Ground and Ice. I'm going to say stabs that I don't have because I'm planning to get rid of the Rhydon. I'll get down to that in a little bit. It's got 2 good abilities. So you have Thick Fat. If your opponent has Intimidate that week, you can run Oblivious. I'm not playing the Snow team, but I guess there's the Snow Cloak is there too.
The option, yeah.
But, my team's not like crazy fast though, so like another priority option between Thunderclap, Extreme Speed, and now Ice Shard. I think that's also pretty valuable. So yeah, I just wanted the additional coverage on some pretty. I think Ice and Ground in general like pretty hard to defend against both. So I think it's gonna be solid. We'll see. I've never really used Mamoswine before. I actually haven't used a lot of these mons before. I've used an Ogerpon and I've used an Arcanine before, but not these iterations. So like everything's pretty fresh here, barring the Tink. I think maybe I picked up Toxicroak next. But it was
Rhydon and then Toxicroak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've already brought up the Toxicroak, but I mean another Fake Outer. It's got more priority. You give an additional water resist or immunity, I guess, if you need it. I didn't have I guess I had Tauros as a fighting type. I didn't have poison. But overall, a pretty good utility. I guess it has Taunt and Encore, which are pretty cool. I don't know if it still has Icy Wind. That might be one of those Nat Dex things.
I think it does.
Okay.
I think it's one of the weird moves that it doesn't seem like it should, but it always has.
He is a mixed attacker,
it does get
so
it.
I guess it's not like the most out of the blue kind of situation. But the Rhydon was like, okay, what value can I get from D tier? And I was like, on the clock. And I'm just like, all right, well, if I have to go up against Colin, like this is like Lightning Rod and like decently bulky, right? But I'm not playing you, Colin. So it's like, I probably don't need the Rhydon. And if I can see something else I want in that spot to counterpick somebody else, I'll probably trade it off.
No, I think you should keep it.
I think I should keep it.
I think you should keep it. Yeah.
It's nice and safe where it's at, right?
We should just let Rhydon get passed around. Everybody who plays Colin gets Rhydon, then passes it on to the next one.
That's just like what I had to deal with Ursaluna in season 2. But
it played like 3 times.
It's the wait.
No.
Wait, honestly, we gotta start colluding. Hang on.
Who's he play week 1?
Quahog Cloysters.
Okay, I'll get the Clodsire from him.
Give it to him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Clodsire for Rhydon.
And then I think other than the Smeargle, my last, or somewhere around my last pick was the Snorlax. Yeah, it was this. No, I had a C and A tier.
So it was like maybe second to last.
You got Snorlax and then Sneasel.
Smeargle.
Smeargle.
Okay. Smeargle, yeah.
Okay. So it was down there. So yeah, I mean, again, the Ghost is pretty strong into my team. So it's like, all right, here's a pretty fat normal type, and I don't have high expectations for things he can do. Like if I want to set Trick Room, it's okay, and it's good into other Trick Room teams.
Yes,
and we look at my schedule.
That's the big thing. I think.
We look at my schedule. I play both of the big Trick Room teams, so like he actually might stick around. So I like Snorlax. It's a mono I like. So functionally, I don't think I've used it too much in VGC. So again, kind of a new thing for me to play around with. But I think I covered my bases pretty well. Like I have 2 Fake Outers. I have Redirection on a mon that I'm probably gonna want to bring almost every week. Same thing with Wide Guard on a mon that I want to bring almost every week. I actually have screens in a lot of places that I wasn't really aware of that. I don't know if I'll be clicking those buttons with those mons, but
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Encore. I got that in quite a few spots there. I have a couple of Tailwinders. They're not like prankster high speed tailwinders, so like it's kind of just like they're bulky, so they can get it off. But again, it just depends if it's something I kind of want to play around with that week.
Yeah.
And then I guess typing wise, my biggest gap is probably ground. But and then maybe fighting a little bit,
but also the ground, Rhydon and Toxicroak both weak to ground. Those guys are not coming all the time.
Well, and the Rhydon's probably not going to be here very long. So if I delete that, like that looks a lot better, right?
It's better.
Actually, look, that looks a ton better.
And Toxicroak, and Toxicroak also still not coming every week.
Right. So honestly, really for me, I think it's like maybe ground type's like my big target on my back, but
Hey, ground is a hard type to resist too. Like it's grass, bug, flying, and you have a flying and a grass, and you don't really want a bug.
Well, so Cleaver was the other one I debated for the Mammoth Swine Spot, as y'all know, but because I didn't have, if Rhydon's gone, those like the 4 types I was missing was ice, ground, and then bug, rock, and Mammoth Swine ended up
of the types to be missing. Ice, bug, and rock, not the worst types to be missing.
Well, stab rock, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, stab ice, stab rock, both very good, but defensively pretty abysmal.
Yep. But I would love some constructive criticism, so I'll turn it over to y'all.
Yeah, I think this team is really bulky. It looks very difficult to kill. I like you mentioned it, but I think the biggest weakness is just a lack of speed control. You have Trick Room, but it's only on your restricted, and you have Slow Tailwind, which is just in the past that was enough because we didn't have dynamic speed, but ever since Gen 8, you really do want some either really fast or priority Tailwind. But foregoing all of that, I think if you could get a Prankster Screen Setter, I think that literally patches everything up, and I think this team gets like a trillion times scarier. I just don't think there's any I guess there's Morgrim, right? If you were to switch Snorlax for Morgrim, which honestly is not terrible. I think this team gets like ridiculously hard to kill.
Yeah, like I said, the Buffy would have fit pretty well, but maybe I was too much of a nice guy. I don't know.
I think my only issue is that you mentioned earlier you wanted the Trick Room and Tailwind option with Lunala as a mon that you'll bring a lot. And you've also made it clear that you don't actually ever want to click Trick Room.
I don't want to. I don't want to be.
No. Let me finish.
Right.
Let me finish.
Right.
You see like a team with like 5 slow mons. You say that is a hard Trick Room team when that is like the 50-50 Tailwind Trick Room. You look at say it's Snorlax and Rhydon. You go, oh, I have a Trick Room mode, and that's like the fakest Trick Room mode of all. Like, nobody's actually scared of it. You don't actually have a threat. You have the threat of turning off opposing Trick Rooms, and that's what I think is like the value is. But like nobody's actually scared of you pulling up with like Lunala, Snorlax, Rhydon, Raging Bolt.
I should clarify that it's more so it's an option to click the button if my opponent like tailwinds or whatever. But the option is
like,
there. It's like
if we look at a team like the Quahog Cloysters, like that team is ridiculously fast. I think like the Trick Room just obliterates it. Like even Ogrepon is slower than most of the guys there, assuming Sun's up.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you have to think.
I just thought that was funny.
I think your criticism is fair, especially in like a normal VGC format. Like I brought this team into like a VGC tournament, like that's more fair. But in terms of like if I'm preparing for a certain week, maybe you can give me a little leniency in that regard. But
I'm gonna be honest. And also maybe it's just because I like have played you before. Like it's like it's like okay, I know that Patrick is going to do everything in his power to not like bring the Trick Room mode. He's going to find something else that is also good. Like, even having the Trick Room mode is good into me. And maybe that's just like maybe you could scare somebody with it. Maybe you could actually bring that. And like I probably couldn't prep for it.
Trick Room Meowstick week, not from you, but against you. It's ridiculous.
I was ready. I knew it was going to happen.
Okay.
But I don't know. I do think the team's really strong. It's just that is
solid,
like my only. Yeah, that's the only criticism I have.
Okay, fair enough. It's fair. It's fair criticism. All right, up next we have the Trenton Thundurus. This one starts off with some major power. Chiyu kind of an unexpected first round pick. But Chiyu and Goldango, certainly powerhouses, both with good spread options. But you're starting off with a shared ground weakness, so that's something to note. Then you have the Clefairy for the Friend Guard and the Follow Me support, which the first two, Goldango's bulky enough. Chiyu on the special side. So I mean, I could see it being okay there. Certainly okay for Eternatus, who just has crazy stat line. But also Eternatus shares that same ground weakness, so that's something this team should keep in mind. But then you have Iron Valiant for a great support mon. If you need to run it offensively that week, it can be physical or special, which I think for this team, maybe more often than not, give yourself a physical option because like very specially heavy. Then you have the Kilowattrel, which has, I guess, Volt Absorb for some electric matchups, but I mean, you're not getting the redirection, but you do get very fast Tailwind mon out of it. So
that's probably what it's mostly used for here.
Yeah. And then I guess you have competitive, but again, this team's not very intimidatable, so I don't know how.
Intimidatable team.
Right, the least intimidating. And then I don't know what's really going on after the Eternatus. I mean, you have the Hippowdon, which is okay in singles, but there's no sand theme here that I'm aware. I guess Sand Force. Where is it? Yeah, Sand Force. Trio is a thing.
We found the sand core.
There it is.
Sand mode, I guess, not core.
Then you have Mega Launcher Klotzer, which it hits hard, but I mean,
it hits really hard. Yeah.
I don't know if it's
especially with the Chi-Yu, I guess. Yeah, but the problem is they both kind of want the scarf, so they both would. You'd want Tailwind support in that case, which you don't even have Prankster Tailwind. It's Kilowattrel Tailwind, which is okay, but a little bit inconsistent.
He's got a couple mons, honestly, that would really like. Goldango can also be a scarf set. I mean, if you bring the Rotom Frost, I could see that also being scarfed. But I mean, then you're shooting. Go ahead.
I was about to say I like the Rotom Frost as a D tier. I think that's probably one of his best low tier picks because, like we said, these top guys all have. There's a pretty common ground weakness up there. Having a second immunity in addition to Kilowattrel is really nice.
No, I agree with that. The team certainly needs it. But then you have Alolan Dugtrio, which it doesn't have the trapping that the other one has, and it just gives you another ground weakness.
Bad.
So like, I don't know what's going on here. But I mean, obviously some really solid special attackers. I just don't know how it cohesively goes together just yet, which I guess I should figure out because I played them first. But
I see the vision right now for Alolan Dugtrio. You send it out. You like switch out one of your like actual threatening mons for Dugtrio and sack it. Then it's the tangling hair. They're slow. Now Chi-Yu or Golden faster.
Oh my god! Hang on.
All coming together.
He might have found it. Because that's what I was gonna say. I feel like this team would really like some better speed control than just Kilowattrel. I think. Well, the problem is, I think at this point all the pranksters are taken. Maybe Murkrow's still around, but I think it's on a team.
No, it's not actually. Which is crazy because he's got Goldengo, so like that almost seems like a better option for him than even Teferi.
Honestly,
but
that's what I was gonna say because the team is it's a little bit too frail to make much use of Friend Guard. Like obviously, like you said, Goldengo is pretty tanky. Eternatus likes it a lot, But I honestly think Murkrow would be really good here because even that, like you said, Goldengo you can haze away the stat drops. Same with Eternatus, you can haze away Draco Meteor drops.
Oh, true.
A lot of times. Eternatus does just want to do Cosmic Power. I mean, not a lot of times, maybe sometimes. But then you just don't click Haze if you're Cosmic Powering with Eternatus.
Also, overheat on Chi-Yu. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Actually, I think that would be a worthwhile trade to consider, at least. And it helps with your ground weakness, another ground immunity.
That's true. No, go do this. I think he has used up a lot of trades, but I think he does have some left because he had that day one thing. I'm gonna get rid of all 5, and then he was like, nah, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should think about it.
He has 2 remaining now. Yeah, so good thing he didn't get rid of all of them.
Yeah, I think that's a worthwhile one. But the question is, if you pick up the Murkrow, do you need the Kilowattrel anymore? But I mean, I guess it's still a decent electric type. So.
Yeah. I think it's also nice with Chi-Yu. Sometimes maybe you don't want to bring the Murkrow. Maybe you want to go too offensive mon, Scarf Chi-Yu, then just naturally fast Kilowattrel. Could be a good lead sometimes.
Yep.
Kilowattrel also, it doesn't have to have competitive. Wind power on its own is really strong. Getting essentially 2 times electric damage after setting up Tailwind is kind of ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like that's just the same as competitive, just for 1 turn.
You also have
and you control it too.
I didn't realize wind power was only 1 turn.
It's charge. It gives you charge.
It would be insane if it was more.
Yeah. That makes sense. But I mean, I guess I always thought about it conceptually with the Tumbleweed.
Wind Rider.
Yeah.
But, because that's Wind Rider. That just gives you an attack boost. Wind Power gives you charge, which is
okay.
It's a different ability. Yeah. It doubles electric attacks. Only electric, though, not flying.
Makes sense.
And charge, the effect just goes away after you use an electric attack.
We are talking about a lot about Tailwind, and obviously speed control is very important. But he does have pretty high speeds on the top end, 130, 125, 116.
And the Valiant gets a free booster too if he runs that item, just a free 50%.
Yep.
So actually, he could actually kind of go pseudo to Scarfers. Scarf will then go booster Valiant, and Valiant does have Icy Wind, which does, I think that might be his main form of speed control a lot if he doesn't want to bring Kilowattrel. I see that being of his most consistent way of setting Tailwind, or not setting Tailwind, but getting faster.
Yeah,
because it's not like he has slow guys that in the base 70 or 80 range where they need the Tailwind. Plus or -1 on your opponent is enough for Eternatus to outspeed pretty much everything, barring other Scarfers that are also just naturally faster than it.
I do on the side there we have Iron Valiant and Rotom just putting in all the work all the way down.
It's true.
Rotom has definitely got his utility box checked off there, but Clefairy's pretty well present too, I would say, but and certainly that's his redirection here, but no, I think the team's got a lot of good parts. The Murkrow, I think, is a very solid idea for some good synergy.
I think so too, yeah.
But no, I think it's certainly don't sleep on the team. All right, where's my mouse? Connex, why don't you take the next one?
All right. So this is the Winterville Weaviles. This is the team Shadow Rider made it to. What was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th pick. I don't think anybody really expected Shadow Rider to go that long, but it was around. So Fred took it, and then he paired it with Indeedee Female, which was another one that, that's for a different reason. A lot of people probably didn't expect that to go, but I think if it's going to go on any team, Shadow Rider is the mon to go with. They've got great synergy together. Shadow Rider having Expanding Force, Indeedee protecting it from sucker punches and just random stray priority moves. Even Shadow Sneak is really strong into a quad weakness like Shadow Rider. Having Follow Me to just help take away some of those just stray physical moves that it can't take. Well, it actually is not the worst bulk ever because it is a restricted after all, but for a restricted, that's really frail, especially with the typing. Then Fred pairing it with the monster Sneasler just to get Sneasler incredibly fast. Honestly, just those first 3 are already they're probably coming to every game, and that's just really difficult for a lot of teams to deal with because you have 2 incredibly naturally fast Pokemon. Sneasler gets even faster than Burden, and then you also have Indeedee, which is capable of Trick Room imprisoning. The document doesn't show it, but Indeedee does get imprisoned. I've used it before. So you could stop opponents from setting Trick Room to try and slow down your really fast guys. And then after we get past that main core, which is probably coming most of the time, we get to his I guess a little bit more of a balanced core. Not super hyper offense, but just some bulky guys that can mostly are capable of switching in for the Shadow Rider and taking hits. He's got the Hydreigon and the Crocodile, both of which resist its 2 4x weaknesses, which is really good, being dark types themselves. And then Gyarados also has Intimidate, same with Crocodile, to help deal with some physical attackers because Shadow Rider and Indeedee are both physically a bit weaker. And also a fun thing about having Indeedee is that you can, throw a Psychic Seed anywhere to patch up one Pokemon's special defense. Usually it's going to be on Sneasler for Unburden, but it could be elsewhere too. And Intimidate plus Psychic Seed makes one mon very hard to kill. Now I am not a huge fan of his C tiers. I guess Raichu Alola is just another Psy spam. It can click Expanding Force, but it can't click Fake Out in the terrain. I guess you could click if you're not planning on leading Indeedee. The Earthworm I feel is probably more of a comfort pick for him since I think he's had it maybe 3 times now in draft. And it probably just is one of the best remaining Steel types, and most teams do want a Steel type, so I guess that's okay. And then we get to Yanmega and Bastiodon, which I think as far as D tiers go are okay. Yanmega has Tailwind and it has Speed Boost, so it's pseudo priority Tailwind, and Bastiodon is just wide guard guy.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of good pieces. Like you said, the front end is very, very scary. You have some good bulk in the middle. I'm not 100% a believer in Earthworm, but I know it can do things like sit next to Crocodile Earthquakes and kind of just chill, I guess. I think he is planning on getting rid of the Raichu. Like you said, he doesn't really need another psychic type, and the fake out support's not really there. I mean, if you're not running Psychic Terrain on Dee Dee, then she's running fake out, right?
Well, actually, does female get it? It's not on the dock.
Is it male only?
I feel like she does.
I think she does. I had her in season. Not that I ever did it, but I had her in season 4, so I think she does. Yeah,
she does. Yeah, the dock just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting, you can actually just bring it on Psychic Terrain in DD if you see your opponent has like a flying type that you want to fake out. Like most Tailwinders happen to be flying types, so if you want to deny your opponent's Tailwind, you can just do it with Indeedee. It's more inconsistent now that Terra exists, but I did that in Gen 8 a couple times because there was also no Covert Cloak back then. So Tornadus was a free fake out with Indeedee.
Yeah, that's smart.
Something that I really like about this team is that like the first 2 picks, obviously, like Calyrex and Indeedee, like they're both I don't know if it's the first 2, but yeah, they were like both weak to dark. Because even though like, Calyrex is weak to dark and ghost, like Indeedee covers at least the ghost part. But Sneasler having like being the 3rd pick not only gives you like extra speed, it also can take care of those dark types. And then I like the and just you're not really scared because there's not a ton of non-dark or of dark non-stab. Like there's some Pokemon get Dark Pulse, but it's not a super common one.
Knockoff's the big one.
So, knockoff. I guess that's true. But it's still, I guess, so it is knockoff. You gotta worry about that. But other like a special side, it's not super common. And I also like the Hydreigon after that to like be able to resist dark as well and ghost.
Yeah.
I don't love is like Crocodile and Gyarados. I feel like they are filling the same role just with different typings, and it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of funny they both get Intimidate and Moxie. It's more of a coincidence they just Intimidate more. And then I don't like Orthworm at all. I think Orthworm is terrible, but I know I'm fighting a losing battle in this draft league. But,
well, I will say that I think the glaring spot that you try to hit this team with, well, I guess there's a couple, but them being Ice and Fairy. And then it looks better because Orthworm's steel typing, but that mon has no special defense, and Ice and Fairy are like.
And also, it looks better because the Bastion also resists both of those, and Bastion's probably not coming like often.
Right. So I think Ice and Fairy are like the Achilles heels, perhaps, that you can try to like. Obviously, Dark if you can hit the first 2.
Dark if you have like a non-dark type that has dark, like a ghost type with dark, or maybe not ghost type. I don't know. Like Hisuian Zoroark with dark coverage would be perfect here.
No, I would think that like Weavile is like really good coverage into this because it's like you're the things you want to resist, like your dark, both your dark types are weak to ice. That's 2 of your best like ghost and dark resist. So if you have like dark and ice coverage, it's not perfect obviously, but still it's like that's pretty scary. So you can't really safely switch in. On if you have dark and ice coverage, or if you have like Terra Blast Ice on a dark type or something like that.
And sort of pivoting back to the Sneasler pick, it's something that I like to think about when picking like a bit, like especially hyper offense. I think, what types are my opponents going to want to Terra into? And for Calyrex, the 2 that come to mind, normal and dark, to resist Astral Barrage, but dark specifically resists Astral Barrage and Expanding Force. And Sneasler just obliterates whichever one they pick. Sneasler obliterates both of those. So I love to think about like, okay, what Terra type are they most likely to go, and then grab something that just kind of really punishes them for Terra-ing into that type. And I think Sneasler's the perfect pick for that.
I think this is certainly one of the more terrifying teams, maybe top 3, top 4 teams.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Get Orthworm and Raichu out of here, and I think and replace them with something good.
All right. Let's see. Colin, why don't you take the Eastside Emboar?
All right. So this team is one that I do not find very good, unfortunately. I think we've mostly had up to this, like, I think most of the teams in the league are like pretty strong, especially after the changes. This one I just am not really a big believer in. I don't think that I like the core of Chi and Pound Metagross. I think that's pretty solid. And after that, and I think Sinistra pairs also pretty well with Metagross, other than they do share weaknesses, which is rough, but it could be worse. And then after that, I don't know where it's going. Primarina I think is pretty good, but what is it doing with Chi and Pao? And then what is it doing with Tauros? If like, why do you need both of those? They're both kind of there. I like Torterra. It's a good wide guarder and it can also shell smash, but I like, what is Tornadus doing on this team? Because you don't get benefit that much. Chi and Pao doesn't benefit from Tailwind too much because it's already really fast and often wants to sash, so you're living a hit anyways. And then a lot of teams like pretty slow. I don't know. I can kind of see the vision pairing with Zekrom, but I think Zekrom is just a worse version of a different restricted that was not taken, with Kyurem Black. So I don't know. I am not rocking with this team.
I think the big reason to take Zekrom over Kyurem Black is that you just really do not want two ice types, as we I don't know how this is getting structured, but may say in the future or have said already in the video, you do not want to stack ice types.
That's true, but I don't really want to stack ground weaknesses either. And you want to pair with Metagross, and Salazzle is on there too. I don't know.
Well, that's another thing is the Salazzle and the Chimpower are kind of vying for that sash spot. But, yeah. So that's already kind of a problem. But I mean, I guess you don't have to bring Salazzle every week. I mean, it is nice to have the fake out option, but I did try. So I think that. But before we recorded my team, I did have the Fire Taurus at one point, and I've traded that since. But I tried to, or maybe I don't. Either way, I tried to trade that to. I tried to trade him for a free inter-team trade. I was like, hey, would you like the Fire Taurus? You already got the Water Primarina. I feel like maybe that'd be better for you, but it would be another ground weakness. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that regard. But now he opted to keep the water one, so here we are. But he does have redirection. Like you say, he's got wide guard. He's got a fake out user. He's got speed control with Tornadus. I don't know if he has it anywhere else, barring
He's got a lot of Icy Wind, but none of them really want to click it.
Yeah.
But Zekrom gets Tailwind. I didn't realize that it could set it for itself. That's fun.
That is interesting. I mean, it's always a nice option. The Electrowebbers are pretty slow for that particular role.
If they even learn it,
I was about to say he's not
listed on the.
That's very strange that neither one of them would learn that, but. I don't know. I don't trust the sheet, so take it.
Yeah, the sheet has been wrong before, so we don't know. Trick Room on Sinistra.
Does. Yeah.
Okay. He's got a couple slow guys, and I mean Zekrom easily could be, if you predict your opponent to run a lot of speed EVs, trying to outspeed that Chimpow, and just expecting you to do Tailwind, you could just do Trick Room and have no speed on Zekrom, and underspeed some of the quicker teams.
Yeah. Trying to see if this team has a soft bulldoze option to pair with Metagross. I don't think so. Taurus
not anything
maybe,
fast.
But that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
I mean,
Torterra, but that's too slow.
You want it to be really fast. Yeah. Oh no, Torterra that would hurt. If you want to get the weakness policy, clear body combo, but
I was just thinking of mons that learn it because Torterra and maybe Tauros are the two that come to mind.
I don't think it's here on this team, but
not fast enough and. And I think Sceptile's actually taken elsewhere, isn't it? Or am I thinking of
Sceptile's on the Solgaleo team.
Yeah. For that exact combo. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Tauros is your best option, I believe.
Which
that's not great.
It's not very fast, yeah.
Not optimal. But I think he still has all of his trades left. So if he wants to, touch it up, he certainly has room to do so.
I think if you really want to use Zekrom, which he does clearly, then Chi and Pao is the way to go.
Yeah. No, I like those two guys. I like the Bolt Beam coverage plus the only thing is that Zekrom I feel like is gonna want to be scarfed quite often because it's a little bit too clunky to, lead Tornadus Chien-Pao, protect Chien-Pao, set Tailwind, then somehow switch Tornadus to Zekrom. It's that just feels like it's not gonna happen. So I feel like the Zekrom just wants to be scarfed, probably.
I mean, I guess you could stick it next to Sinistcha and Rage Powder, then do Tailwind yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's an option.
Yeah, but then you don't have Sword of Ruin, which is the big thing that I think that's what this team wants to do.
That's true because that mon's not going to want to be in the Trick Room. So fair. Well, we're just talking about options, but you're right.
The team has a lot of options. I just think it's a little bit. They don't play very well together, I think is the problem.
Yeah, it's a lot of non-bows and it's very clunky.
Mm-hmm. Like I could see like Wolf Glick piloting this team to good success, but I don't think we have a Wolf Glick tier player. Yeah, not all of us can be a Wolf Glick.
Yeah. In terms of weaknesses, I guess Ghost is the button you can really just click into this team. Chimpow is,
but like
is
we
not,
said before, you don't really want to be a Ghost type yourself. It's like non-stab Ghost because Chimpow just would destroy you.
It would, but I mean, yeah, I guess it might take a couple hits to take the cat out, but yeah, fair.
Yeah, like a Rotom with Shadow Ball would be really good, but then yeah, if you are a Ghost type, you're gonna get just
I don't even know
crunched or sucker punched.
I love Rotom, but using it for anything non-stab is kind of like
it's not enough. Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, the electric is pretty good into like the guys that not like a lot of the team, but I feel like the guys that are coming a lot, like Thundurus, Primarina, and well, maybe Primarina and Taurus not at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get to cover both options with one Thunderbolt. I also just like this team is just surprisingly frail. Like Zekrom is really not that bulky for being restricted. Like Salazzle is obviously very frail. Torterra is like also it's just got a bad like rough typing, but it really is not like as bulky as you would want. Tauros you can hit super like for special like really easily. Chien-Pao is not bulky. Tornadus isn't really bulky.
I've used Sinistra and that guy he's physically bulky, but specially it's 7180. Like that is not bulky.
Very average, I suppose, but
the
I don't know. I mean, if you're not bulky,
well,
you want to be hitting hard and fast.
That's frail, I'd say.
He does have options to do that.
That's
but...
frailer than Tornadus, and if Tornadus is not bulky, then Sinistra is not especially bulky.
I mean, if you were to switch something out here, like, because I mean, it looks like this team it fits more of the hit hard and fast. You know, with you got Tornadus, you have Chien-Pao to kind of get the speed up there for Zekrom. Obviously, you're going to be benefiting from physical attackers. I mean, what do you want to drop? What do you want to see like drop on this team to potentially be replace some kind of other niche?
I mean, I would love for this team to have an extreme speeder. Like obviously there's already Bullet Punch on the team, but like it never hurts to have extreme speed too, right? And Dragonite did go undrafted. The problem is that you have to swap one of Metagross or Sinistra, and it does step on Zekrom's toes a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think of the types to stack, I think Dragon is one of the better types to have two of. Then maybe at that point you'd be looking a little bit fairy weak, so maybe drop the Tauros for something that resists, or at least is not weak to it. But I don't remember what's remaining in B tier. We have looked through B tier and it's pretty slim pickings down there.
No, I'm not asking for specifics either.
Yeah, no, I just think E-Speed is something to consider, just to have it on the table,
No, makes sense.
I don't really know what I would like any one change I would make because I just feel like the team is kind of directionless, and I feel like once you like establish a direction, then I feel like it'd be easier to make clear changes.
Well, like I said, I think he has five trades, so he can certainly lean hard into something. So yeah.
Yes.
All right. Alrighty, let's see here. Go on down to the Grifton Gulpins. So we got the round 1 Incineroar pick, which, bless up. I don't think that's ever happened in this league. So
it went undrafted in season 4.
I mean, he's just so ugly. In fact, I'll go ahead and lead off by saying this is the ugliest team. And that is an objective comment. The only cool mon on this team is like Garchomp. And he's not winning a beauty contest, but I mean, he's cool. But you start off with the cat.
I like Toedscruel.
I mean, there's some cool, like, he's fine.
No, I agree with you.
I like Terapagos merch form. Unfortunately, in battle, it is never in merch form.
Well, I think I like the middle form fine. It looks more like a turtle and not like some weird Beanie Baby. But it is what it is.
Merch.
Anyways, I've deviated immediately off the team review here, but we have the fake out with the Incineroar, we have the Intimidate with the Incineroar, we have all the good support options with the bulky cat. Everybody knows what Incineroar does. Then we have the Terapagos, which I always have to have a question mark over my head because I haven't paid attention to what this thing does. I know you terrestrialize, and then Telestellar gives you free stab on the first hit of every type, and then this mon can
it's like a 30% boost, I think, to the first move of each type. But the important thing about this is that it's unresisted spread damage, which is very scary.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the real benefit it being in restricted format, because you have the Miraidon, the Koraidon, the sun, rain, terrain. You terrestrialize, you just neutralize it while you're on the field, which would be great. I mean, to get a good counter pick mono restricted, that's a cool thing you can do.
Well, it's not always while you're on the field. It's just when it happens, all of it gets removed. It's not like airlock. It's
it actually deletes it.
They can. Yeah, it deletes it. But that also means it's a double-edged sword, because they could always reset it up if they have Prankster, or if they switch out and come back.
True. So but then you can too, I guess. So.
I don't actually. I think it's only when you Terra. I don't think it's when you switch. Is it? I haven't used this one ever.
Okay, so I'm not alone in not knowing what this thing does. All right, cool.
Yeah. I think it's when you Terra.
Stream, it's like if you were at the point where Terrapagos is terraing, you're probably
it's
winning
over.
the game, so you don't need to switch it out. So I just never see it.
As soon as Terrapagos assumes its stellar form, I think that means when it terrestrializes. If you're using this team, though, I would. I've said this. I think this team, you're going to want to lab out all your interactions with Terrapagos, and also because there's a Wheezing on this team, you definitely want to lab out like how Wheezing and Slacking interact. Like if Slacking is on a truant turn and Wheezing switches in, I know you won't take it. But what happens if Wheezing switches out? Does it still count the turns, or will it resume where it was when Wheezing entered? You're going to want to figure out all that when you're playing.
May his
this
opponent
team.
not know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can skip right down to Wheezing here, because he does play some multifaceted roles. The main ones being Toad Scroll, giving you the 100 base speed spores, and then of course the Slacking you just mentioned. And to note, it doesn't actually affect Terrapagos. So his restrictor works under it, and he gets some goofball guys in the lower tiers that kind of become monsters if they're allowed to be. So a neat little mechanic built into this team. And then I'll step back up here. We have the Enamorous Garchomp combo in A tier. So good typing, coverage combo there, other than I guess Ice. But Enamorous, I assume I think she has Tailwind. So you get a decently fast Tailwinder. Obviously, really good Fairy Stab is a valuable thing to have. And then you have Garchomp, who can click EQ next to her. The rest of the team doesn't really want to sit next to him and take EQ unless you're like Levitate Wheezing, but then what are you doing there that week? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like if Wheezing's coming, it's either neutralizing gas or you're doing like some Misty Terrain shenanigans, which I don't even think you have to do with this team unless you're just really going up against a team that's got like tons of Spore or something.
Or if you're going against like Psychic Terrain.
Well, even then, you also have Terrapagos. I mean, unless you really want to double down. So,
And you also have to be careful, because if you're doing Misty Terrain, then you might end up removing it with your Terrapagos. So I think 99% of the time, neutralizing gas is the way to go with this team.
Yep. So I don't know if Garchomp's going to be clicking the EQ button too often. It's probably going to be Stomping Tantrum. Because I don't think it gets high horsepower. I would have remembered that.
No.
But
I wish it did, but it doesn't.
Cobalion, I don't know what you do on this team.
I think he just wanted a Steel type. I think it's probably because
I think a lot of people
teams are fighting.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams got down to this point and they're like, well, I don't have Steel. I'm trying to give it some justification, if you will. But his team's not really afraid of dark moves, so it's not like you're have a sponge to take a dark hit and then get powered up. But
Shiftry beat up.
I
think Shiftry is one of the beat up Pokemon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It does get beat up.
It's actually pretty funny.
I think funny enough, this is one of the few teams that doesn't really need a Steel type that bad. To be honest, I think reaching on a mediocre Steel type was probably not the best play, because I don't know how.
I think you do want something that resists ice is the problem, because your A tiers and Code Scroll are all very weak to ice,
and Fairy for that matter.
A real water type. I don't know if I guess Fairy's not that big of a deal. You got Weezing, you got Incineroar. I guess Incineroar's neutral, but it's still pretty bulky.
Incineroar actually is your best thing with ice, but the problem is a lot of water types carry ice moves. Like a water type with an ice move, pretty good into this team.
Yeah, fighting into this team is actually pretty strong. You really want
and
Terrapagos.
He's got 2 quad resists. But everything except those 2 quad resists is weak or taking a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't dislike Cobalion. I'm just struggle to see like where it really benefits, and I don't think it hurts the team at all. Or I guess maybe it balances out. I don't know. I like the vibes of this team. I think it's really fun, and I think it's a really creative team. I like that. I just am curious to see how it all works out.
Mm-hmm. And, no, I think this looks like one of the most fun teams to play. I think there's a lot of fun stuff you can do, specifically with neutralizing gas guy. One fun thing that people were running back in Reg, I think it was H. It was the no restricted one. I never bothered to remember the names of them at this point. Is you run Wheezing next to Ability Shield and Incineroar so that you can intimidate things even with neutralizing gas up. Specifically, you can intimidate everybody's Defiant Mons like King Gambit and Annihilate and stuff without them getting a boost because their ability will be turned off, but yours will stay on. I think this team actually is probably mostly built around Wheezing because you have the Toad Scroll and the Slacking like we mentioned. But even then, nothing up top is like super reliant on its ability. Well, Tropicus gets to keep it. Enamorous, I guess unless you plan on doing physical with Contrary, no real need for its ability. And Garchomp has never really been hurt by not having Rough Skin. So it's just a lot of mons that don't need their ability that can function inside neutralizing gas.
Yep.
I think that's the most interesting thing about this team.
No, it'd be cool to see what it does. I think maybe speed control might be a big question mark because I think the only thing really is the Enamorous Tailwind, which is only 106.
Yeah.
But I mean, the team's like decently bulky. So we'll see.
Oh, I did not realize Shiftry was only 80 speed. That's so bad.
Yeah. Shiftry has Tailwind too, but that's not.
We're not counting this.
Wow.
We said his name. That's enough. Oh, I get. Oh, excuse me. Alomomola. I said it. I guess that's wide guard.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it's there for. Just those like few matchups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got Scald. It can Scald stuff.
What does Healer do again? Is it heal his teammates?
It's a 30%.
It's a 30% chance. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every turn.
Status condition.
It's funny. Team's funny. I think it's funny, and I think it definitely has the potential to do good things while being funny. So I look forward to seeing some team.
I think it's probably one of the most creative teams that we've seen. Like a lot of them are pretty standard, myself included, but this is one of the funnest. Like I am looking forward to watching these matches.
For sure. All right. Let's see. Why don't you lead us off on the Philadelphia Smeargles?
All right. This team is, this is one of the most balanced teams that we've seen. First off, we start with Rillaboom providing fake out support and just general really good bulk for the rest of the team. And I guess a little bit of healing too, which is especially appreciated by Heatran and Zacian. Also, the grassy terrain has the power of Earthquake and Bulldoze. So 2 ground resists, and one of the best ground moves immediately nerfed. Very nice for them. Heatran also provides a fire immunity for Rillaboom and Zacian to switch in for them. Honestly, I love that for those first 3 as a core. I think that's really solid. Zacian, as you're restricted, going down to A lets you get 2 good S tiers, which is nice. And I think like Zacian was a menace in Gen 8. It's a little bit worse now, but it's still very good. A lot of people tend to sleep on things that have received nerfs, but it's still very good despite the nerfs. And the cool thing about our league is that you're allowed to use either one. You could, if like I said, Heatran and Zacian share a lot of weaknesses because they're both steel types, but Zacian doesn't have to be a steel type. It could be pure fairy, and now it doesn't share weaknesses with anything except like Rillaboom's poison weakness. And who's going to bring poison to a team that has 2 steel types right up front?
Yep.
Latios, I am a huge fan of in draft specifically because it's just got a huge move pool. 110 speed isn't quite what it used to be, but when you've got like Tailwind and Simple Beam, probably not that this team runs that, but
his first match was against El Paso Eiscue. It didn't happen. But I mean, I ran a very similar team to this in season 2, and I definitely did that in our first matchup because I did Terra Ghost, Simple Beam, and that Ursaluna Blood Moon can't touch you, and so like I just won a game doing that.
True. Yeah. But I was thinking more for Simple Beam. I guess you could Simple Beam Zacian and Swords Dance, but that feels like overkill because he's already killing everything at just +1 probably. You don't need +5. That's ridiculous.
No.
5 for 1 sword.
But I just do like Tailwind on an offensive mon is kind of nice because it feels like sometimes you bring Tailwind on a really passive mon, you're just kind of dead a slot. But he also did, I think it was Roar Latios to keep Gliss from setting up Trick Room. Just tons of utility on that mon.
Mm-hmm.
And Electabuzz providing redirection for everybody. And I think this is probably going to be a bit weird for the viewers because I think as of the beginning of the video, we saw Suicune on a different team. He has traded Suicune for Gastrodon with the Quahog Cloysters, which I think that team likes the Gastrodon a bit more because it's a sun team, so it helps with the water. And Suicune is really nice here because it's another mon that can set Tailwind, but just can do other stuff in general. You know, it's got Snarl, it's still got Scald, Inner Focus can't be faked out. Really, really solid option. Meowstic provides screens for a nice low-tier Pokemon because I think Klefki and Sableye are on other teams right now. Mm-hmm. So, you know, nice low-tier screens. And everybody on this team is bulky, right? Like, this team, it's got kind of everything. It's got speed control, it's got bulk, it's got survivability, it's got fake out, it's got redirection, especially with the Vivillon as a secondary option that's also immune to the ground. Because that's maybe the one downside about Electabuzz is that it is weak to ground. So, I mean, obviously you're nerfing Earthquake, but you could get hit with like Earth Power or even like High Horsepower. Seems like pretty safe to click into everything but the Latios and Rillaboom. But the Vivillon is there and can, you know, redirect those single target ground moves away. And then the multi-hit, like the spread ground moves are nerfed by grassy terrain, which is nice. Then Hitmonlee is providing you fake out support as well as Unburden to get some crazy speed just off the get-go. And then Flapple, I am not a huge fan of, but it's a D tier, so I really can't complain too much.
I think he just likes Flapple.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the Vivillon popped off this week, just being faster than the whole Trick Room team and just clicking the Sleep Powder button with Compound Eyes. It was just it's kind of a shutdown.
3 great abilities on Vivillon. Shield Dust means you can't be faked out. Compound Eyes means you hit Sleep Powder and Hurricane, and Friend Guard just protects your allies. 3 great abilities. I love that mono draft.
Great value in D tier. Or C tier?
I had it last
C-tier.
VGC season. I loved it.
Yeah, it's good little bug. Hitmonlee, I've had that mon before. On paper, it's like, oh, you have grassy terrain. You can use the seed. You can become really fast. At the end of the day, you're still Hitmonlee. And when I had it, when I had it, like I brought it to one match and it didn't leave the Pokeball. So like, you know, he got to say, you know, he had a championship belt, but I don't know. I think it just the teams I played against, maybe he didn't have a chance to shine. So I like to see him get the run back. Maybe hit the field a couple times and do something, but we'll see.
I'm a Hitmonlee believer. I think it's good, but it's not that good. But it's good for a D tier.
It has, yes. I think it's good for a D tier. I think there's no reason not to pick it up because when you're looking in D, you're like, what can give me some utility? Okay, fake out alone is enough sometimes to take up a D tier Pokemon. This is a fake out mon that's also like ridiculously fast.
No, it makes sense on paper, and maybe it was just the matchups I had, but it just didn't come out of the Pokeball. But no, I mean obviously I'm biased. I'm a super believer in this team. Again, very similar to something I've piloted in the past, except for now you have restricted Tinkaton in the 3rd slot there. So yeah, I think this team has the potential to do just. I mean, it could go undefeated. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I think also underrated aspect of this team. I think one of the prettiest color spreads on any team in the league.
No,
I love these colors.
Yep.
It's just a lot of blue and red. You guys just like blue and red. That's all it is.
But there's also green. There's also yellow.
Pink. It's got it all.
It's got all the colors of the rainbow. That's what I look for. You hit all their colors. Yep. Indigo, Meowstic. That's indigo. Very, very rare indigo. No other teams have indigo.
Is indigo technically blue? I thought indigo was more purple.
It's like dark blue.
It's in between. It's in between purple.
I always thought, is the GameCube controller like accurate? Because I know it was called indigo, but like.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty much exactly the color. I'm googling it right now. Right. Meowstic is actually not indigo. I may have shot.
It's more of a navy to me.
Meowstic is navy.
Yeah.
I think it is. Okay, might have to. It's like an A+ team, not an S team. I think no indigo.
It is blue heavy. I'll say that. But.
Yes.
Let's see.
It is a little bit blue heavy. I must admit. I think I may have been a bit overzealous.
A little overzealous. It's a good looking team.
It is good looking.
I like blue. Blue's a good color. It's fine to like that. You guys just every time there's a lot of blue on the screen, you guys say, "Oh, I love the colors," and you guys just like blue.
I think it has to have variety. There's just too many teams that have like too much of one thing. I think that's like just amount of blue, and it's got the green and the red and stuff.
I think
very nice.
I think the only team that gets away with that for not having a big variety of colors is the Winterville Weavile, and part of that's because they made their Gyarados shiny on their actual team page. But like, it's all like the blues and reds. Like, it matches like the logo. I'm just like, all right, you know what? Typically, I give you a low aesthetic for missing colors, but this is like so well coordinated. Like, it could be like they could be wearing team jerseys for all I know. So.
That's actually cool.
But when I draft a lot of pink to match my
no. It's like I'm a pink. I like pink, but the problem with your teams is that it hurts my eyes. Pink. No, it hurts my eyes. Like it's not even. It's not subtle at all. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Just say you hate pink. It's okay.
Why don't you start us off with our last one here, the Charlottezards.
All right.
There's a pink Palkia up there and a Cresselia. So.
And Fortress has some pink.
True.
It can be, yeah.
So, I did not like this team on first draft. After draft night, I thought that it was directionless. And I thought that it set up Trick Room and then did nothing in it. However, now it sets up Trick Room and has Ursaluna, which is much better than doing nothing. It can probably get all 4 KOs potentially with just Ursaluna, and so I think this team got a lot better. I like the Palkia pick. It is a nice bulky Trick Room setter as an option, but it also just hits like pretty hard, especially when we have the like, combined forms.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Volbeat to pair with Palkia. I would have liked Illumise better, but obviously that was never going to happen. And I think that having the combination like Trick Room, Tailwind, like options is pretty nice. Because Ursaluna, while it's slow, it's not like Amoonguss level slow. You can in like the right scenario where you have like a mid-range ping is a mid-range speed, it can be quite fast.
Also, if your opponents are expecting you to go hard Trick Room, they probably won't run any speed EVs, and it's a lot easier to outspeed Pokemon that don't have any speed EVs under Tailwind.
Very true.
And so now, I like this a lot. The only concern is that for a Trick Room team, it is actually not very slow. Like you got a lot of like mid speed. Like Iron Hands and Ursaluna are not the slowest. Like they're both base 50. Oftentimes Trick Room teams will be like in the base 20s and 30s, and that could be a little scary if you in the wrong matchup or if you guess wrong when trying to do like the hybrid. I also don't know what Iron Moth is doing on this team. I think that it is pretty good.
It's interesting, right? So like its only poison move is like, or only good poison move is Sledge Wave, right? So then I guess you have Telepathy, Palkia, who can kind of sit next to that. But then like your only Steel type is Duraludon, so there's not a lot of Pokemon that can sit next to it. But
I do like the Telepathy Palkia also for Ursaluna. Having Cresselia and Palkia can both sit next to it while it Earthquakes. I think it's really, really nice to have your Trick Room setters both immune to Earthquake. It's very good.
Yep, and your Air Balloon Iron Moth.
Speaking of Air Balloon, I think somebody on this team is going to have to run it because look at those ground types on the type matchup.
That's a running theme for most of these teams, right? It's just ground is just so hard to get around. So like if you get yourself, and look, he's got the Ursaluna. If you get yourself a hard-hitting ground Pokemon, you're opening the door for yourself to like punch a lot of these teams.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also because a lot of teams will want like Wide Guard, right? And a lot of Wide Guard Mons are Rock, Ground, or Steel. And they're usually picking it up in their D tier. Like, to be fair, 2 of this team's ground weaknesses come from its D tiers, Duraludon, Golem.
As well as
pretty
good.
But Iron Hands I think Magmar and Iron Moth are also.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yes. I agree.
One negative thing I'll say about Duraludon on this team is that Magmar and it are fighting over the same item.
Yeah. That's true. And Duraludon doesn't even have access to Sturdy, which Wolfie pointed out in one of his recent videos, is that like you could just get away with no Eviolite, if you run Sturdy, but it can't do that. One thing that I think this team might want to consider is swapping that Magmar for a Magmortar. They're in the same tier.
Well, okay, I'll stop you right there because this team burnt all 5.
There's none
in the change-up. Oh, so it is what it is at this point.
Well, hypothetically, I think Magmortar would be an interesting consideration here because, for one, it's slower, so it works a little bit better in the Trick Room. It doesn't fight for an item with Duraludon, and it also hits harder, which is like we talked about how before it would just set up Trick Room and then stall out its own Trick Room because it used to have Amoonguss as its other S tier. Magmar, if you're redirecting to protect Palkia to set up Trick Room, now you have a passive Magmar and like okay Palkia, but if it was Magmortar, that guy could just hit heat waves and stuff in the Trick Room and do more damage than Magmar could, and also not fight for an item. So that would have been an interesting consideration. But if he has no waivers left, then that's not a null point.
The other thing we hadn't mentioned here, I mean, Colin did touch on the duality of the team with Volbeat and Trick Room. You do have both forms of Palkia, right? So you can reach the 120, and so you can run Palkia and Iron Moth, be speed invested, have the redirection with Magmar, have Volbeat, be your Tailwinder, and you can kind of function as a fast team. I do think the other holes are a little harder to fill. Like you said, you can kind of catch them off guard if not investing into speed. So maybe you can get the Ursaluna and the Iron Hands in there. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that if you're gonna run Trick Room in draft, it needs to have dual modes. I don't think if you're just 100% Trick Room, it's really easy to just counter it.
Mm-hmm. I even like teams that have like mostly not Trick Room and then have like a sneaky Trick Room mode. I think like if it's like maybe like 20% Trick Room or whatever, I think that is like more likely to catch your team off guard because that is the downfall of Trick Room is preparing for Trick Room. So if your opponent thinks, okay, there's a Trick Room mode, but I'm not going to respect it, which they're less likely to do if it's just like 2 or 3 Pokemon. But the problem is that's kind of what this is, but the problem is that your 2 or 3 Pokemon that are Trick Room are your best 2 or 3. So your outside of Trick Room mode just feels so much worse than your Trick Room mode because of the Ursaluna and Hands being your top 2.
You still have to bring your own speed control because of that Volbeat, right? Like they still threaten the Tailwind. So yeah, I mean, if you don't bring your own form of speed control, now I forget where I was going with this. I had something very specific I was going to talk about, and it's gone. So, but regardless, loosely take that point. Maybe the main point will come back to me. But the I don't know what it was anymore. Either way, let's see. Do we want to? I guess we can fourth wall breaking here. We can do our little tier list once more here. I'll pull up. Let me exit this. Let me pull up the actual team pages. We'll just run through them, and maybe I'll even I'll reset this so that I'll pull over here. I'll reset the
tiers.
So maybe we're less biased, and that'll also when we kind of go through the teams, we'll see some of the changes that happened since we did the
yes, because that's a big thing. Is that a lot of the teams we did in the first half are now different.
Yeah.
And some matches have even played, as we alluded to in this session. El Paso Eiscue and Smeargles played, and also I've played my week 1.
Congratulations!
And the team I played for week 1. Thank you. The team I played for my week 1 has made changes as well.
Yeah, and they took a game off of you, which only happened once.
They did
the previous season with that team essentially.
Yes.
So good.
And I legitimately think that, and we talked before about how important Prankster is on weather teams. I think I 100% lost that set if I didn't have Illumise. Just the Klefki able to set up rain or sun against me was so important in that matchup for them. I had my Illumise have negative speed IVs to be slower than it, so that I could set Rain Dance after Klefki Sunny Dayed. Yeah, but it didn't come up. But the Fake Tears was instrumental in killing it through its own Reflect, and then at that point Kyogre can set up Uncontested Rain. But without Illumise, I think I lost that set 100%.
It's an interesting set to watch for sure. All right, well, we'll do this in order here. So we'll start off with Colin's team. We have the Miraidon, already a strong start. But where does that end up with him going? I'll let Colin. I
will abstain from.
You'll abstain for this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, we have
overall
a Mouse Ape. We have Miraidon with the 2 Future Doxmons. So I think those first 5 certainly are terrifying. The latter half not as scary.
Yep. Yeah, but I could see this team.
My boy Pheasantipity.
I could see those I think there's never really a week where you don't want probably all of Miraidon, Treads, and Jugulus. And then Annihilate, I think, can come almost every week, whether it's Bulk Up plus Rage Fist or just Scarf with Final Gambit to take out a key piece of your opponent's team. I think then the last couple slots are just fill in with whatever you need. Overall, I think I'd say probably A for now, just in a vacuum. We can move it up if there's less teams in S, or we can move it down if some of the A... Probably not down from A. A is probably the lowest it goes, but we'll move it up if S is looking pretty empty.
Sounds good. All right. We have the Oak City Obstagoons. Let's see. This is not in that order, but all right. So I think we have some cool mechanics here with the Solgaleo and we have the Spectre and the Sceptile to coordinate with that. We have obviously one of the best non-restricted mons with the Rapid Strike, and the pre-Incineroar, the best Intimidator in the game. You have the crazy Smeargle. I think the B tiers maybe are the most awkward part of this, but they're not bad mons. So I'd say somewhere between B and A. What are y'all's thoughts?
I think the biggest downside of this team is that it's very frail. I think it's very easy to just get one hit KOs with like super effective attacks that are relatively weak. I think I'm leaning B for that.
Okay.
The speed control is also a little bit weak with the Swamp being your best option, or just like Tailwind from Smeargle.
Or Electro Web from Raikou, I guess.
Yeah. I think this team would love a Prankster Tailwind setter, but like those are in very high demand.
I was gonna say, who wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly. Who wouldn't want one of those? Maybe like Glist, and that's kind of it.
Con, are you agreeing with B tier?
I would say B, yeah.
Okay. All right, Colin, why don't you...
I'll abstain.
Yeah, Colin, go ahead and lead the conversation here, but I think...
this is a pretty easy S tier.
Yeah, we saw what this did in Season 4.
It is one of my clear top 3 at the very least. I think it's like probably the best.
PTSD incarnate. Yep.
Minimum top 3. I think this team's great.
No argument.
If you played in the draft in Season 4, you know.
No argument.
Yep.
Let's see. Then we have Whitsett Wobbuffets. A lot of great pieces here. You have 2 ways of fighting weather. Unless it's rain, then you have 1 way of fighting weather. That was interesting. His match with you, he still brought Drizzle on it.
Yeah, I didn't prep for Pelipper at all, which was actually the biggest problem that I had was that I'm like, oh, my guys are pretty weak to Hurricane. I'm like, I didn't think about that.
You got some Electro Redirection. You got Fake Out support. Really good speed between Dragapult and Zamazenta. So I think it's very solid.
Yeah.
But...
No, I like this team a lot. I think. The board's just so empty.
It's kind of a 7-mon team versus a lot of 10-mon teams. But I guess maybe I'm short.
To be fair, I wouldn't call your team a 10-mon team either. But
I think that you are totally wrong. I call mine a 9-mon team.
Okay.
I don't think Frostmoth is real. But if you do not think Chestnut is real, you just think he's ugly and you're biased.
It's like a 6 and 4 halves mon team. 6 and 4 halves. I think I'd put it either top of B or somewhere in the low A, depending on how those tiers shape out.
Okay. We can certainly move it around.
Mm-hmm.
Tick-Bite Joltiks, I think this is
this one is S.
Very good.
I think I'd put this S as well.
Very good.
All right. Nothing much to say
I don't
here.
think we even need to talk about it. Yeah, it's just a great Sun team.
Terrifying Sun. I mean, and you got really good... Yeah, you have the speed control with jump off in the solar power. And yeah, it's just great.
Most recent regional, Brute Bonnet did crazy. Like once again.
I saw that, yeah.
Trenton Thundurus. Little special heavy. Could you maybe use some more
this
physical
one's a
attackers?
Little lower. This is most light screenable team of all time, I fear. It also doesn't benefit like too much from Clefairy. I would probably put it in C for right now, but it's like
I think I agree.
It just because it's like it feels easier to prepare against than like the other ones we've seen before. Even though I think it's like strong. In the right matchup, I think this could go crazy, like back-to-back 4-0s, but I don't know about consistently doing that or consistently winning.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up, we have Winterville Weavile. I think this is vying for a top 4. I think I said that already once.
Minimum A, for sure.
Yeah, minimum A, probably lower S, I think, depending on what else goes up there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Eastside Emboar.
I think this is one of the weaker teams, yeah.
I think this is probably C. Could be D, probably C.
Okay. We talked about this one just recently, so I'm not going to dive too hard
into
it. Gateway Glaciers, very ice heavy, as I'm sure we talked about before. It's got some good pieces, though.
Yeah.
Again, I think we
I
said
think
if the Chandelure swapped out for something else, it could dramatically get better.
One change would make this a clear S tier, and that would be trading Iron Bundle.
Don't listen. Don't listen to him.
Definitely, that would make this an S tier team.
I think C's good.
Top of
bottom of C.
You want bottom of C? Where do you want it?
I don't think this team like it has too many like redundant and kind of useless mons. Like Chandelure is what is it?
Overlapping with two guys.
I agree that Chandelure shouldn't be here, but like this thing, it's like a truck. This is like a truck.
Not, like helping.
Yeah.
Like I guess Ninetales and Kyurem. Let's like you can put them both in the field and they both click. Like
Blizzard.
Both click Blizzard, but what do you do? And I think that it has too many roles that are fulfilled by a different not enough roles are fulfilled by on the team. I think that it is too one-dimensional to be like.
I do think it's hard to. I will say I do think the ice types that they do have are pretty hard to wall out because all three of them have freeze dry. So you can't just go like Terra Water. And like if you wanted to go like Terra like Steel, like I guess you could, but then there's
the
Ogerpon.
Ogerpon specifically, and then if Chandelure stays that. Yeah.
It's also just one of the most it's super light screenable is also what I'm thinking. It's other than Ogerpon, it's like. Yeah.
And awkwardly Chandelure also. Hang on, Chandelure might have been cooking with the Chandelure.
Oh,
Infiltrator.
Sure.
No. So I think the big thing is that this team is ridiculously rock weak, and I think the Chandelure you need like probably a steel type on the team.
Okay. So where do you want it?
I mean, I'd personally put it above Eastside Emboars, but if Colin is adamant that it's lower, we can put it wherever.
I think C tier, it's like kind of all this similar.
Yeah, you're not super ordered in the tiers, probably.
No, we're not gonna lose too much sleep about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of scary teams.
Yeah, I think this team is very good.
Now
this is one of the.
I guess we can come back and sort S if we want to, but
yeah.
We all in agreement that this is an S tier team.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
A finalist from season 2. So. All right. Oh, I love looking at this team. This is a beautiful looking team.
I do too.
This is the most aesthetic team. I love most of these mons too. It's like
yeah, if only had the blue Gastrodon, the correct Gastrodon.
You said West Side.
I think this is a solid A tier team, like high A too. I think
like just under the Winterville, or
yeah, I'd put it there probably.
I'm comfortable with that.
I would tend to agree. I think this team's really scary. It's also my week 1. I've been scared.
Koraidon versus Miraidon.
Yeah, I know the lore match.
Oh, it's actually Koraidon and Friends versus Miraidon and Friends. It's future versus past. And they each have 2 friends.
Yeah, look at the friends.
I wish that I had not said some. I wish I'd let him keep Ting Lu. After week 1.
And then he also got the Gastrodon too. That when we were talking about it before, it had a useless Suicune on there. Now he's got Gastrodon, which is more useful.
Well,
so I think it
to his
probably would have been
you. I think right. Yeah, week 4.
Yeah, week 4. Although actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's a Sun team with only 1 Fire type, so maybe the Gastrodon's not like ridiculously necessary, but it's better than Suicune was.
Sandy Shocks is also
water, true. So. Yeah. And I guess Clodsire, if you're bringing Clodsire and also not making it water absorb.
He's just vibing. Just leave him alone.
He's chilling.
Leave him alone.
He's for the Dozo matchup.
He's vibing. New York Ninetales. So we have the Dozo team. Got so we got some screen. We got the best screen setter to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some wide guard. Rayquaza without Chimpow
Airlock
kind of hurts a little bit, but Airlock is good for the Sun and Rain teams. And then obviously
Fluttermane,
one of the best
crazy.
standalone mons. Yep. So
probably ever, yeah.
What are we thinking here?
I would probably say
I'd say probably B. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, this is the part where I shut up. I will say the only difference here I think is I can't remember if I had Mamo when we first reviewed this or not, but Mamo's
did not have Scyther.
I definitely didn't have the Scyther instead of the Rhydon. But
yep.
Yeah, you did have Mamo. You did not have Scyther.
I think this is probably the most balanced team we've seen in the league. I think a lot of other teams kind of pick one thing and go really heavy into that. This team is just kind of a lot of bulky attackers, I think we mentioned this before, but the one thing is that the team is a little bit lacking in speed control. You've got like one Trick Room setter, couple of non-priority Tailwind users, but I guess Scyther does help in that regard now that you have a third one when you factor in the Moltres and the Lunala.
A third mediocre Tailwind.
Exactly.
No.
No, I think it's still an A tier team though. I think it's pretty good.
agree.
I'd probably put it below Collins though.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we had done this like the first time, you still had the Tauros and the Rhydon. I think it would have been probably in B tier, but both those changes I think are really great, and they helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Cool. The ugly team, the Grifton Gulpin, but a solid team. I don't know what to expect out of this team, but as we said a while ago, we were eagerly waiting to see what it does.
Yes. I think it's kind of held back by its speed control options. I think that's exactly where I put it, like top of B. It looks very fun. Yeah, but I think the speed control is just. I mean, if it can get it up, if it can get the Tailwind up, then it's pretty in a good spot. But it just has such a hard time doing that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I love this team. Again, I'm biased here. But
another change that was made the last time we did it in between that Latios used to be a Regidrago, which I just realized.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
I knew there was something that I liked a lot more about it because I thought it was just this weekend, but it was the
Latios.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of am leaning towards maybe S for this team.
Ooh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, probably like bottom S.
I think I like it less than Winterville Weaviles, but I also like.
Well, I was thinking move them up. Yeah, no, I was about to say move Winterville Weaviles up, like right between El Paso Eiscue and that. But then maybe is that too many in S? Maybe we move Smeargles to top of A. I don't know. I don't know how many we should try because this is, I think Colin said it before, but I think after the waivers, these are some like this is the most improved we've ever seen a draft by waivers because I think a lot of the teams were very weak near the beginning. Then everybody made waivers, and I think every single waiver net improved the team.
So many
look
preseason
at so many waivers.
This is crazy.
And I think every single one of them improved the team that they were for.
I also expected one of Colin's opponents to pick up this Rhydon. I did not expect.
Wait. Wait.
Well, no, it's too late now. It's too late now because El Paso Eiscue picked it up.
Wait,
did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah, today.
So again, I was surprised. I thought one of Colin's opponents was gonna jump on that, but I guess it's there for my Bolt. Maybe I don't know, but
we stay up.
It's on a Trick Room team, so I do think it's very valuable. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it is sad to see Executor go. I think that was a big part of the aesthetics of that team, but that's not the choice we're making. So
yeah, but he already had one chlorophyll on. He doesn't need double chlorophyll. I do like the variety there.
So I guess the question here is: do you want the Smeargles above the Weaviles or the Weaviles above the Smeargles?
No, I think Weaviles is probably better.
I think
they're both really good, but
we could move Weaviles to bottom S, and then we could move maybe Whitsett Wobbuffets to top of B, just to sort of round out the tiers.
We're not done yet. We got one more.
Unless, oh yeah, true. But I was just thinking because we have a lot of A's right now. It's fine. Yeah, after.
All right, so we got Charlottezards. So it's your other Trick Room team. Where do we want this?
I'd probably put it like lower B.
I think that's where I'd put it too.
I think.
Let me look at the
Trenton
Thundurus.
Scarier, but it's still. I don't know. I think
maybe
I like this tier list. But...
Yeah, I like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now there's no reason to move Whitsett Wobbuffets anymore because it's
easy
pretty normal distributed.
And no D tier teams. I actually think that is true.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the D tier is a valuable tier to have there, and I think nobody fits in it. So, I think cool. I like what we've done here. All right. Well, thanks again for one. Thanks again for helping me re-record this last 6.
The ones that disappeared.
I'm actually gonna let the recording keep scrolling after we cut here, just because for some reason it was chopping the end ones off. And you
got to edit it anyway, so might as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
But I actually do like that we did the tier list at the end because it gives us a chance to. Because I felt kind of bad about not going over some of the teams that made changes, but the tier list is a nice way to summarize and see what has changed. Because I would feel bad about just using some teams updated.
Do you want to see what you did last time?
Actually, that would be kind of interesting.
I saved it over here. So
okay.
There's your
oh wow, yeah, the Whitsett Wobbuffets
granted,
went up a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Smeargles went up. B tier shuffled around a little bit. Yeah, very interesting actually. Yeah, I actually do think the Whitsett Wobbuffets, I don't realize because they switched Dragapult in for Urshifu single strike, which I think actually is huge because their team was aside from Zamazenta being their fastest, was hovering around about 100 speed with the Landorus and Urshifu, and also Zamazenta and Urshifu both hitting for very similar types, both having fighting type. Was a bit a bit repetitive. So the Dragon Ball is actually huge, and I do stand. Yeah, I think it's a solid team now. I like that a lot.
I also agree with Quahog Cloysters. I'm actually scared of Gastrodon, not in like just in my matchup against them, but like more than Suicune doing nothing.
Right. Suicune on a Sun team is like, I'm doing Tailwind, guys, leave me alone. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah. It is funny. I didn't realize how much better like Dragapult made it, but it really does.
It does, and also just giving you another it can go physical or special. Whereas with Urshifu, it's like not that Urshifu is easy to counter as a physical attacker because Intimidate doesn't help that much and Screens don't help that much. But at least for the fighting move, it would. But also, Terra Fairy covers both. But then I guess you do have Steel type. But Dragapult's just so versatile. Dragapult's such a good mon. I like it a lot on that team, and just in general.
Yeah, I got it like last pick in our other draft league, which we're doing Reg H. That was crazy. I second to last pick actually.
Yeah.
I goofed a little.
Well, you didn't get sniped like you did in this league, taking something absolute last.
That was so.
Colin, where do you think?
Now.
Where would your team fall with? Oh yeah, you think it's better? As I say, where do you think you'd fall if you had the Grimmsnarl?
So but I have Mousehold. That was like a pretty relatively different team. I don't.
It's impossible to really say without knowing every fit you'd have.
No, it was just like the pre-Marina getting sniped, and then that was like the real kicker for me. I was really not ready.
Oh, you're talking about in this? I meant in this league. If you had Grimmsnarl in this league.
No, I won pre-Marina in this league too.
Oh, you won pre-Marina in this league too? Okay, never mind.
Like that was the first one that I was like, should I take Hisuian Arcanine and?
Oh yeah, that's right. That is funny that you got sniped for pre-Marina twice in 2 different leagues.
I know.
I didn't realize that. Because that's why you have Fez and not Prim. Yeah.
I wish I had Prim.
All right.
I think Prim would be better, but
yeah. All right. Well, I gotta go now. No. Pleasure doing this with you guys.
Absolutely. It's always a good time. Y'all have a good night.
All right. You too.
You too.